everyone, and welcome to episode 106 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
And this week we watched Jerks and the Beanstalk.
Or, do not let them scan the Beanstalk of friendship.
And Glean Eggs and Scram.
Or, protect the Diggy Eggs, the miracle of disappearing leaf.
For DigiNews this week, first, what's the plumbing?
There was no reason for that one, really. Not a good reason, anyway.
Kick. I'm staring at you.
Okay, we'll continue.
For DigiNews this week, what are we doing? I don't know what the fuck we're doing. Okay. For DigiNews this week, first of all, 02 is now streaming on Anime Lab. It's the dub only, I believe, but that's because that's what Madman has the rights to at the moment. And this is, of course, the Australian anime streaming service that's meant to rival Crunchyroll, but we also have Crunchyroll, and I believe Crunchyroll has more stuff on it. And there's also been a squishable Koromon plush picture that's been released, and it's very cute, and I kind of want one. But I already have, like, the Japanese Koromon that came out a couple of years ago, but it's pretty cute. For LostinTranslationmon, since we're almost done with Frontier, so big celebration from Jay.
Yeah.
So that means we're going to start releasing the questions for our end of season special episode. And the ways to answer these will be on the With the Will thread, reply to each post on Twitter or Facebook, or reblog each question post on Tumblr with the reply. And I was thinking of possibly setting up a way to respond to these easily on the website, maybe like a forum, a form. But I'm not sure about this because it might be too time consuming, and already setting up the images and posting them everywhere might be more time consuming considering all the other stuff I have to have on at the moment. But they will be posted on the With the Will thread, and they will be on Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. And I will be also posting these early to Patreon supporters in the Slack chat. And I'm going to try to set these up tomorrow, like maybe at the same time this episode comes out publicly. So I'll be sending those out to the Patreon supporters then. And since it's also almost the end of the season, just a heads up, I'm also going to be putting out the end of season survey soon. So this will be spoken about on the show. This will be linked in the link note when it's available. It's not going to be available maybe for at least a week or so. And I'm going to be posting this everywhere as well. So it'll be hard to miss. And this time it'll feature more questions about what the new segments are that we've added, like weekly poll, and things about audio quality since we've upgraded our audio quality this season, and also questions about our side episodes, like our Lane episodes and our V-Tamer episodes and our Applimon episodes, because those are also new things, and also the same sort of questions that we've had in the previous surveys as well, just in case people who were answering this survey hadn't answered the previous surveys that we've had. We might have had new listeners. So that has been an interesting perspective, or maybe their opinions have changed. Maybe we talk about certain aspects for too long now or too short, and it'll be just interesting. So we also are adding stuff to our Patreon. Well, we've added stuff to our Patreon, I should say.
Yeah.
And for $5 a month, you can now play games on Steam with us. And I know I said Steam. I've said Steam in my notes, and I've said Steam on the Patreon reward, but I'm dumb, and I also forgot to mention that you can also add us on the Blizzard.
Like BlizzardNet.
Yeah.
It used to be called BattleNet. They changed it to
because
the Blizzard app.
Yeah, it's like the Blizzard. You can add us on Blizzard.
Yes.
Because Jay plays Hearthstone.
We both play Overwatch.
Yeah, well, I have Overwatch. I haven't played it yet.
You will. It's great.
Yeah, I will. And I'll play Hearthstone too. So you can add us on Steam or Blizzard app. Yeah, I keep on forgetting, it's not BattleNet.
If you play Rainbow Six Siege, you can add me on the Uplay one. I don't know how that works, but you can.
So basically every month when we ask for rewards, and we already sent out the reward asking thing this time. So we'll be asking for Steam IDs or BattleNet, whatever they're called.
And if you want to tell us what games you play,
yeah, that'll help too.
Generally, we can let you know if we actually play those things, and we can discuss and have fun times.
Well,
there's nothing better than video games with people that you're on the sort of the same
interest with.
I was gonna say on the same page.
I think Hiro Lado wants to play you in Street Fighter.
Oh my god, that sounds great. What country do they live in?
I think America.
That might not be great.
Oh no.
Fighting games are the worst game for lag because
that's not good.
Everything needs to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like shooters aren't great, but obviously there's ways to compensate. It's really I'll play Street Fighter, and if the connection sucks, the connection sucks. But yeah, so there will be a system for it. It'll be really fun, I'm sure.
I was thinking maybe we could set up a Discord for patrons for $5 plus, but I'm not sure. I don't want to take out communication and conversation that'll be happening in the Slack. So it'd have to be like Discord is just for organizing games.
I think it would just be this tier. Like if you're in the video games thing, you would just go into this thing.
What do you mean?
This is how you organize stuff the best. Just chuck them all into Discord.
Yeah, I know, but like then that like I don't want to make Slack inactive because Slack is pretty active at the moment. I don't want to like upset like the balance, and I feel like if we had Discord, I mean, we could set up a Discord just to organize playing games with people.
That's the whole point. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but we couldn't like it wouldn't be like as casual like and as chatty as the Slack. Like all chat would still go in the Slack.
Yeah, of course. That's what it's for.
So do you think I should set it? It was just a thought I had.
Having the voice channels is good. Honestly, if you're really concerned about that, just don't let there be a text feature.
Well, that's what I think Matt's done with that Discord, because that doesn't have the channel.
I don't know why he took that off. We're really just getting into a marketing meeting here.
Okay, yeah. Welcome to the LostinTranslationmon marketing meeting.
This is going to get edited for sure.
No, I'll leave it in because I like.
The reason I say that is because it will make you edit it.
No, it won't.
Damn it!
This is being left in because to upset Jay.
You know how there's like reverse psychology where you tell someone the opposite of something to make them do it? I like direct psychology. Do the thing.
So yeah, so I'll probably set up a Discord and I'll send out like a link to $5 plus Patreons, and then that'll be much easier than just saying, "Hey, give us your Steam." So no, that's a good idea, me. Well done, me.
I'm sorry, I'm really disturbed right now.
Why?
Why is that book upside down?
My mum put it upside down.
There's a book upside down on the bookshelf, and I'm really uncomfortable.
It's okay.
Stare at that whole show.
Also, in addition to the Patreon editions, now we added an extra thing to the $10 per month reward, and you can now suggest I will show you DigiWorld things. The reason this is $10 is because
the section on the show.
Yeah, not just
shows along.
Well, Rumble Arena is a $5 one, but that can be sort of done impromptu. That's a sort of like we can answer that on the show.
It requires research.
I will show you DigiWorld requires research. We need to maybe get the thing. We need to like watch or play the thing.
Yeah, if we're gonna get like special tapes of 02 episodes that never were really aired.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah, no, it's Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid definitely, but. So
is that an option? We'll watch that for this segment because I will.
No. Well, it has to be like a short thing. It can't be like a watch this series. Yeah, but we do have that Patreon milestone, which
I keep telling you it's Gurren Lagann, but it's not changing.
But yeah, so you can suggest things maybe like, "Hey Jay, play Digimon Masters online."
I'll play it for 6 seconds and say this is terrible.
Well, that's what you did with the Digimon DS game that I believe you played very early in the show.
That was in Japanese. I couldn't read it.
No, wait, was it? No. I gave it to you in English. I 100% gave it to you in English.
No, there was a Japanese one. I couldn't read it.
No, the one I made you play was in English.
I don't remember.
I also made you play Digimon Heroes. So yeah, so that's just quick, brief additions to Patreon.
Boy, was it not quick.
Yeah, I'm bad at making things quick. Speaking of things that aren't quick, I also start wanting to that's totally English. Cut down on the length of Postmon Pat because we're starting to get over the half an hour mark.
It's almost like back in the day. We used to have really, really long ones.
I was looking at old episode show notes from like the first like couple of like maybe 10 episodes or 20 episodes. And we had like the podcast episode was an hour and a half and 40 minutes was Postmon Pat.
And then we had like a drought in Tamers, I think, where we're like, oh yeah, we had 3. Yeah, we had 3 or 4 an episode.
I think I think during Tamers it's because people usually don't have much to say about Tamers. Like all they say is basically Tamers is good.
Hey, look, on this show they said that Tamers was good. I guess I agree. Don't need to say anything. But here we are with Frontier, and there are the people who feel vindicated because Frontier is really bad, and they always thought so. And there are the people who are like, but I like this thing.
Yeah, but the people who don't like Frontier have also said, well, I guess it could be bad if you think about like this.
Oh my god, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. Every time you say it, I die a bit inside. You know that, right? So, also, speaking of shortening Postmon Pat, if you want to send us a message, and we did say this back in 02 when we were getting a lot of messages, is that if you're going to send us something long, like I will read the whole thing, and if something's interesting, I'll share it with Jay. But if there's a main question, put it in bold.
Yeah, if there's something that's main that you really want us to say, put it in bold. This isn't an excuse to like bold like 10 different things in your email.
Because
bold,
we won't read it.
Yeah, bold maybe 1 or 2. And I might pick something else that you said that was interesting, because I have done that, because we do have people who still bold things, and thank you for that, because it does make my life a lot easier, because I still have to shorten it. And if someone has bolded something and then there's something else that stands out in the email, I'll say that interesting part. So not everything, like some things that aren't bolded might still get read out. But basically the main, like 1 or 2 points, I'd really like you to bold, because it just cuts down on a lot of us talking about Postmon Pat.
I've always said about certain pieces of media that they should be designed that whatever episode you happen to listen to or watch, the person who's making it should imagine that's someone's first episode.
Yeah.
This is the worst episode for that, where all we've done is talk about, like, oh yeah, play video games with us and how you send us letters.
Yeah, no.
It's the most self-indulgent episode of the show we've ever done.
Like, but people can skip LostinNewsLatelymon. Like, it is a skippable segment, and I'm sure people do. And same with DigiNews, because it's like not as timelessness as the rest of the show.
You're right. It is not as timelessness.
That was a sentence, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, if you're a Patreon supporter, you can, like, say a bit more and we'll put it through just because we love you. And we love all the listeners.
It is true VIP status.
Yeah, basically, you can we'll still shorten it down a little bit, because we don't want to talk for half an hour about just answering things or just reading things.
You know how much of VIP you could be? You could print out your own badge that says LostinTranslationmon VIP, and then you could print it and you could laminate it and pin it to your chest, and we wouldn't stop you. That's what a VIP would be.
And if you do want to do that, take a photo of your VIP badge.
You would be more than welcome to do that.
Did you know that the P in VIP actually stands for Patreon?
Yes, very important patron.
Yes.
Not Patreon, that's the website.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I think we've always had this argument about Patreon.
It's not an argument, you're just wrong.
I just say that they're Patreons, but you're right. The company's a Patreon, but I just feel like it just flows better, because I hate saying the word Patreon supporter, which is so clunky.
No, patron means supporter. You don't need to say both.
Okay.
You're a Patreon supporter because you're a supporter on a website called Patreon, or you're a patron. One of them's shorter. Use the shorter one.
I mean, I guess I could just call them backers.
We're not a Kickstarter.
They're Vibs. Very important backers.
Oh, God.
So it was my birthday the other day. And because, like, I love Stevie and I love Chisai, because the two of them collaborated to make this, like, the first chapter of my fanfic into, like, this visual novel, spelling mistakes included, and it was fantastic. It was so cute. Like,
Chapter 1, the beginning.
Both of them provided amazing art for it, and it was just, thank you so much. So thank you for the wonderful birthday present. It made me happy.
Happy bird bath.
So just to finish off, I'd really appreciate more feedback in regards to the audio, just because we've sort of just upgraded the mics and the mixer, and now we have 2 mics, and it's just plugged into the mixer, and I just really would like to know how that sounds in comparison to how we previously used to sound. Hopefully we're both clearer.
Yeah, we've been adjusting the setup still.
Yeah, and we're still in a different position to what we were in the last episode, which was our first mixer episode. And yeah, I just want to make sure that we're sounding great.
We spent 2 hours working out a little hiss in the background that turned out to be the headphones we were using.
Yes, and that's like the bad thing, because I'm now also monitoring the sound. Like, I've got better headphones in this time than I got for my birthday, and they're very large, and they're kind of comically large on my head.
Oh boy, are they.
Yeah, they're very large. And speaking of upgrading, just the last bit of LostinNewsLatelymon, we got there, kids.
Oh my God, we've been doing this for like half an hour.
And basically, I plan on getting a GoPro at some point.
You're planning to GoPro?
GoPro. And this would be for, like, I really want to do more toy videos, because the reason I hadn't done that many was because, like, the quality of the iPhone's not that good, and then I had to make sure they're only a couple minutes long, because otherwise they would stop because storage on my phone. So it'd be really nice to get my hands on a GoPro. I was thinking of waiting till the end of financial year sales, because they're going to be soon.
Okay.
And I'm going to go shopping with Sasha.
Enjoy.
Because I think Sasha also wants to buy stuff.
You do that.
So yeah, we'll be buying a GoPro for our next thing.
Who's we? You're buying it.
Yeah, I'll be buying it, but like it's the royal we of the show. Well, it'll be for the show, so it is we in our regards.
I'm not going to use it.
And on to Obnoxious Synopsis. The first episode they're watching this week is called Jerks and the Beanstalk, or Don't Let Them Scan, the Beanstalk of Friendship. What do you think will happen in this episode?
It's weird because I think the Beanstalk, given the whole Jack and the Beanstalk connection, why they'd be having it at all, it would assume the Beanstalk is a bad thing that leads up to, like, evil things, but it's the Beanstalk of friendship, so there it is. I'm guessing the Royal Knights want to scan this big Beanstalk thing that is part of the digital world for no reason and will be totally unexplained, and the kids try to stop them, and because we're still trying to establish that the Royal Knights are really cool, they're going to fail, and they're going to scan this thing. And the jerks are the bad guys, I guess.
You mean the bullies?
No, the Royal Knights.
Because the bullies just did get kidnapped by the Royal Knights.
I know.
So you don't think they'll have anything to do with the plot?
They'll be captured, and they will be the reason that the kids are going up to help them.
Well, so Tommy's also captured?
Was he bundled into a bag?
He jumped onto the bag.
I guess.
What do you think will annoy you in this episode?
Any sort of convoluted reason to get Beanstalk in, because, boy, we need filler right now.
Do you think it'll be a good episode?
No.
What rating?
4.
Filler or not filler?
Yes.
The second episode they're watching this week is called Gleam, Eggs and Scram, or Protect the Digi-Eggs, the Miracle of Disappearing Life. What do you think will happen in this episode?
Is there some sort of starter village in this version of the digital world? Because that's the only thing I could imagine it being. Glean eggs. My only guess is that Glean Eggs is the name of someone's attack or something? Why Glean?
I don't know.
I got nothing for you here.
Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
I got nothing for you here.
Right. So you have nothing? What do you think will be a good episode?
Of course not.
What rating?
4.
Filler or not filler?
No.
So you think the first episode will be filler and the second episode won't be?
Yes.
But does that mean that you thought that the last episode we watched last week was filler?
For most of it I did.
Because the first episode they're watching seems to be a continuation on from that.
I'll consider them a duet of filler.
Okay, duo filler. Anything else you want to predict about these episodes?
No, I would like to stop watching Frontier, please.
We're almost done, it's fine.
It's ruining my life.
I know, me too. So, on to the show.
Okay.
So, at the start of episode 41, we get, as always, a brief recap, and something that was really weird that I noticed was that the message of the last episode was basically, show courage to your bullies and earn their respect. That the message wasn't, hey kids, don't bully people. It was, grow as a person, show courage, and that then your bullies will stop bullying you.
Yeah, the bullies in this case will never get any comeuppance for what they did.
Yes.
They see no negative consequence as a result of being bullies. Do negative things happen to them? Absolutely. Is any of that is any of that their fault? No.
No. And Teppei is still a horrible person. Like, Teppei is definitely the worst.
In fact, we'll spoil the ending. Teppei never apologizes. The tall one does.
Katsuharu does, which I guess he was also bullying Tommy, but not as much as Teppei. Teppei was like, I'm going to strangle you. That was like some serial killer level stuff that was going on there.
Do you agree that this episode, joined to the last one, is 2 episodes worth of filler?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I
Kind
thought
of.
that might be an argument we got into.
I mean, I like the Royal Knights, but no, it was
you
basically
can like
filler.
them all you want. It doesn't mean anything happened.
Well, a lot of people do say that the Royal Knights arc is filler.
I've God, the whole thing.
Like, the whole thing feels like filler.
Well, so far it does.
Which is strange, because an arc can't be filler.
Yes, it can. Filler arcs exist.
Like, that's like saying...
Look at Naruto.
But
There's
that's like
tons.
saying, oh yeah, the Edamon arc was just filler.
That's not true, because stuff happened in the Edamon arc.
Yeah, stuff happens in this arc.
No, not as in events happen. I mean, from the beginning of the arc to the end of the arc, the kids have evolved and moved, and things have changed, okay? Where, like, specifically, I guess in that case, Tai goes back to the real world, learns some things, talks to Kara, you learn other stuff. Things have changed. My best example of a filler arc will always be, there's not a season, but there's like a stretch of episodes in Naruto where they go to like a new village that no one's ever mentioned before. And in that village, a couple of people have this special glass power, ninja power, that no one else ever has. And you kind of cover how broken that thing is and how powerful it is. And they have a whole little story. And when that story concludes, the characters leave and they never mention it ever again.
Right.
That's a filler arc because it's multiple episodes in a row. It's a contained story where events happen, but from the story from the overall context of the main narrative, it may as well have never happened.
Right.
So this bit here with the bullies and these extra kids may as well have never happened.
But you know what the worst thing is? When I was a kid, when I first watched Digimon Frontier...
You're like, yeah, Teppei's my favourite character.
No, I wasn't that bad. No, the Royal Knights arc I think was my favourite. And I think that was the arc that I was looking forward to covering on the show the most.
Was it because there was a knight in pink?
No, I really do like Crusadermon. As I said, the way my fanfic was going to end up was me becoming Crusadermon, one of the Royal Knights, because I liked Crusadermon that much.
Yeah.
Because I really like Crusadermon, and I didn't even know that.
You liked him as a girl too.
Yes, no, yeah. I was about to say, I didn't even know that in the original version, Lord Nightmon was a male. I just thought she was this really cool, strong female who just like murdered everyone, and I was like, that's cool. But I don't know, I still like Lord Nightmon. I still like Crusadermon. Like she and he both my favorite characters at the moment. And I mean, like, I guess Bokumon and Naemon are also great, and Patamon's great.
Patamon's really nothing now, huh? Like, you kind of get the suspicion when they first showed up that something they'd be important, and now they've really become just this floating bean that is there.
It's the same sort of thing as Offmon in Atmon.
I have a question for you.
Yeah?
Why is Fanimon still doing the Digimon Analyzer? Isn't she dead?
See, I think the Bokumon should be doing them because he has the book.
Yeah, we
and he was
both
for a while.
agree for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he looks at his book and says, this is what they're doing, this is who they are. But it's just Fanimon being like, yes, and this is what the Digimon is. No, she's dead.
It is weird. Anyway, so in the recap of the dub, Rika is being very sympathetic towards Tommy. Like, saying, oh, I'm poor Tommy. Like, Rika, you would have 100% bullied him.
So she would.
Like, Rika at the start of Tamers was a very different person to how she was at the end. And she would have bullied him.
Well, this is the one from the middle of Tamers. Sort of.
Sort
the middle, first third.
Yeah, but she's still kind of like an angry woman. But I don't, and even then, I don't think she would be sympathetic to Tommy. She'd be saying like, well, why can't he fight his own battles?
Harden up, son. Harden up.
I don't know, I don't think it's actually Rika as a character. I think it's just Rika's voice.
No, but she says like goggleheads and stuff. She says things that make it clear it is her.
Yeah.
It is her character.
See, I think I've mentioned this before, that Rika's voice actress stops doing the recaps at some point because the actress went off to be in a musical.
Okay.
And
obviously not yet.
I'm worrying about that because, like, I really like hearing Rika's. I really like Rika.
Why are you worrying about that? Like,
because I don't
it's
want her to go
annoying
away.
to hear her voice.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I like it.
I feel that about every time they use a character from an old series. So it was Tai, it was Davis, and it was Rika. You know, all the main characters.
Tai didn't do it in Zero 2.
I thought he did.
No, the first one to ever do it was
Davis.
Daisuke. Well, Davis in Tamers.
Okay.
Tai, the start of the season in the dub was narrated by TK because he says, "For Kari and me, it's just beginning."
Oh, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, that would make sense because actually Tai was in that. So I guess it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't like hearing these characters at the end because it doesn't make any sense for them to know what's happening. How are they commenting on this? What interaction could that character have with this?
They're watching the show because Digimon is a show in the Tamers universe, so they're actually watching Frontier.
Yeah, like Rika of all characters would have watched it. Give it to Takado.
Yeah, okay.
If Takado said, "Oh, poor Tommy," I'd believe him.
Look, I actually prefer that it's not Takado because it's nice to see, hey, look, it's not the Goggle Kid doing something.
True, but everything she's saying is stuff that Takado should say.
It should be Susie.
What?
Oh no, poor Tommy!
That would be really funny for one episode, and then I'd get so sick of it so quickly.
Yeah. What if they changed it up? They're like, oh no, this time...
And then the big bear Crusadermon came in and he was like, well, bow!
Oh no, the Royal Knights!
The Royal...
No, not the Royal Knights!
And Luciamon, who's not a pretty princess.
He's not a pretty princess. Crusadermon's a pretty princess.
I'll die.
So, the start...
Guess I'll die then.
Guess I'll die then. So the start of the episode happens, and Tomoki and the other children are being taken away, and Naemon says, off they go, and he waves. And it's so pure.
I think it's like, and Big Mon's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. He's like, why are you so relaxed? And it's so cute. And then a bunch of Trailmen tell them that it's pointless to go because it's impossible to go there. And then we see that Tomoki's been taken to the Beanstalk Village. And
which, by the way, that Beanstalk is huge, and the kids act like it's the first time they've seen it.
Yeah.
It must have been on the horizon the whole time.
It's very large.
This makes me think that, like many things in Digimon, it was written week to week, and they didn't know what was going to happen next week. Because, like, you can't have it be, they all look around, they're all moving around and they're traveling and stuff, and then the next episode starts, what's that giant thing in the distance that's always been there?
Well, remember, the Venus Rose, we only started to see when it was relevant.
No, but the Venus Rose is a small thing off in the horizon.
Yeah, no, but you could see, like, the big light thing.
True, but that could have just been, like, part of the night sky. Maybe you can't see it during the day.
Don't try to defend
You could
this. This is
excuse
terrible.
that one because it's much further away.
No, but the episode literally went, oh, that she's off at the Venus Rose. Where's that? Bokemon points there and points to the big thing in the sky. How was it only relevant then? We didn't see it at all, and I feel like we should have.
Okay.
How are you defending Frontier right now?
First of all, that's smaller and also could have been hidden behind a mountain, which the beanstalk is towering above mountains.
Okay. I'm saying that both are silly.
They're both silly, fine, but they're not comparable.
They're both very big things that should have been seen that weren't seen.
One of them is, oh, what's that thing over there? Oh, okay, I don't know. Then, when they go to Venus Rose, maybe they don't all know. It doesn't matter. This thing, they can't be surprised. Oh, I didn't realize there was a beanstalk there. It can't be surprised.
Well...
It's huge.
Jay, I don't care where it's been. I want to know where it is now.
It's right there.
Being large.
Being big. Living large. Alright, so... Tomoki is holding onto the edge of the net.
Yeah.
And the bullies are like, don't die. And he's like, okay. I don't intend to die. In fact, I'll smile because this is an intense scene at all.
I don't know why Tomoki's smiling during this part.
Also, if you were... I don't remember who was holding the net. I assume it was Crusadermon. If you were Crusadermon, wouldn't you have just swung the net a few times to dislodge the child while you were in the air?
Maybe she didn't notice.
They're yelling at each other.
Yes, but also later on in the next episode, and I'll just say it now because it's relevant, when Kaiser Greymon and Magna Garurumon are fighting them, Kaiser Greymon and Magna Garurumon are literally narrating their plan, and Dynasmon and Crusadermon are just fighting them, saying, oh yes, we're fighting them, and they're just saying their plan like, yes, the other kids will grab the eggs. And I'm like, well, they can hear you unless you're communing telepathically, which I guess...
Which they can do. We know they can.
Yeah, I guess last episode they kind of did.
We learned.
So anyway, in the original, when they're saying, oh, we can't go there, and they do say this a bit in the dub, but there's an additional line where one of the Trailmon says, maybe they'll send you a postcard one day.
Okay. How's it going to get there? Not by train, for sure.
It'll travel over the beans. Bean mail.
But okay.
I don't know.
There's something at the top of the beans.
Yeah, there are more beans.
That's true.
So
Actually, the only beans are up there.
In the dub, when we find out what the village is called, they say, well, what would you call a village with a giant beanstalk? Beantown? I don't know why they had to give the Trailmon level of sass in the dub.
They always have that level of sass.
But in the original, they're like just normal.
I know, but they've always done this. It's not new. It's not new to this episode.
And in the dub, JP wonders if there's a giant at the top.
Fair enough.
Instead of just saying that's a beanstalk.
Instead of looking up, it was a fairly clear day.
Eh?
It was a clear day. You could just see the top of the beanstalk.
Which you should have been able to see previously. Like, oh, hey, what do you know?
No, I mean, there's no giants up there. I can see it.
Well, maybe they're so big you can't see them because they're at the top.
That's not how big things work.
Good point. So Takuya asks for a ride and they all say no, and all the Trailmon leave except for Trailmon Worm, who's asleep. And Takuya knows that he's dirty, and they start tickling him for some reason.
Wake him up.
In the dub, he mentions how he's going to be counting buffalo.
By the way, you know the most ticklish things on Earth? Trains.
Yeah. One time I went to sit down in a train, and all of a sudden it started laughing because I was tickling it.
Yeah, what's the best
True
video?
Story.
The best video on the internet?
What?
It's that guy who's like trying to get a selfie with it where's the train's passing by, and the conductor kicks him in the head.
The conductor saved his life. Though,
yes, he did.
Because there was a big spike. I'm pretty sure that was in Australia or New Zealand. Or something.
It was in Australia, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. Just gets
but he almost died.
In the face.
And so Izumi then hits on a train. By the way,
she like rubs her butt on its teeth.
And it's so, like, it's just really annoying that that's what her character is. She's the pretty girl. Like, I know previously we have seen her be diplomatic in the way that she's able to talk and say, hey, look, we need your help. And she's good at rallying people together. Why couldn't she do that? Why'd she have to rub her butt on him? In the next episode, she's able to talk to Trailmon without rubbing her butt on them. Why is she doing this thing? Well,
maybe it implies that she's good at getting people to rally because they all want to touch her butt.
That's just, it's just so annoying. Like,
I agree with you, man.
Because if it was sort of subverted in the way that, I don't know, just do something clever with it. Don't just make her the girl who is attractive, and even though, despite being like a 12-year-old girl, the trains want to be involved with.
Yeah, trains, which, as we all know, are incredibly romantic.
And it's so strange. Like, why did this... why did they need to do this? It wasn't funny. I didn't find it interesting. It didn't add anything to the plot. She could have just spoken to them. Like, it's so annoying.
No, it doesn't work. You gotta... See, that's what all her butt attacks have been. They're not actually her trying to win a fight or hit someone. They're her trying to, like, you know, win them over to her side. Just, hey, I got something for you here. And that's why the hard eyes every time.
It's so annoying.
I'm so done with this character.
Look, and it's sad because I remember Izumi Bennett being a better character when I first watched this.
Yeah, that means you don't remember it properly.
Yeah, and I mean, she does do good things. Like, as I said, she is diplomatic when she's not trying to use her bum.
That's the most diplomatic she's ever been.
In this episode, she's just rubbing her bum on his teeth. And yes, it is the teeth. It is purely just the teeth, and I don't know why. It just doesn't sit right with me.
I agree. It is
So in the dub, she mentions how he's outspoken and strong, and she wants to get close to him. It's just this whole scene just makes me so uncomfortable.
That's why we're talking about it for so long.
Yes, because it makes me so uncomfortable.
I want to stop talking about it.
You want to stop talking about Frontier in general.
Oh my god, it's true. Can I sleep now?
We're a month away. It's fine.
That's so many day.
So many day. So much Tim. Takuya keeps calling the Trailmon dirty. In the dub, Takuya says that he must have fallen asleep and forgotten where he was going. And we find out that he's the Beanstalk Express. And he shakes off the sign and the children then say that he's horrible. In the dub, they're sarcastic and they say, "Oh yeah, you're such a giver." And I'm like, they keep on adding sarcasm to the kids when they're saying these things.
I'm so disinterested.
I can tell.
No, I mean, this whole episode was really boring.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
You could smell it being filler. Like, it pretended, because last episode something happened, there was continuity, but you just knew.
Yeah.
You just knew when they whipped out the beanstalk.
So when the bullies arrive, the bullies know it's Beanstalk Village, and I'm not sure why they were let out temporarily out of the net. I feel like they could have escaped at this point.
Yeah, I don't know why they let them out either. It's never explained.
Like, they then go to a jail cell, but I feel like this part isn't in a jail cell.
No, it's not. They dumped them on the floor, and then there's all these, like, beat up Mamemon. And they're like, "Oh, how could you do this?" And the Royal Knights are like, "What do you mean? Of course we did this. Like,
yeah,
why would we not do this?"
Like, the thing that people really have to stop doing in this season is asking the Royal Knights why they're doing this. The Royal Knights are like, "Well, we're doing it because we're the bad guys."
Although, simple question: if they're on a mission to gather as much data as they can, why would they beat up the Mamemon and not take their data?
I think they're more into the data of the land.
Doesn't matter. If they've already beaten them, just take it.
Well, they are obstacles, but also they're very cute.
It's not a relevant factor.
Yeah. So the Royal Knights ask where the key is, and then back to the other kids, we get more sort of chosen children are cleaning the train.
What? They clean a ridiculous number of trains in this season.
Yep.
It might only be 2, but that's still a ridiculous number of trains to clean.
Like, if I had asked you at the start of the season, "Hey, Jay, how many trains do you think they clean?" And you would say, "Well, considering you're asking that question, it's probably 1.
Yeah, like, I don't even think I could have estimated as many as it was, even if I anticipated it to be a trick question.
Yeah, no, there are two cleaning of trains so far.
Why? And they're not in any hurry, by the way. They're all really happy to be doing this.
Their friend could be dying, and the Trailmon even says, "Look, your friend's probably dead by now."
And they're like, "Yeah, but we missed a spot, so give us a second. I gotta get the mop again."
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, there's no sense of urgency. There's no, like, dramatic music.
Because it's a filler episode.
Yeah, it's like, well,
nothing matters.
We're the good guys, so we're not gonna lose, right?
Oh, God.
So Junpei offers him chocolate, and then what?
It's been 6 months. How does he still have chocolate?
Yeah, we know that actually has been 6 months. Like, the chocolate's not going off, I guess.
Chocolate doesn't really... I mean, it does kind of. I learned today, in fact, well, you know how when chocolate kind of does go off and it gets that white stuff on it?
Yeah.
That's called bloom.
Ah,
it
has
blooms. A guy who works with us used to be a marketing director for Cadbury.
Huh.
And he's talking about how, like, chocolate became, like, the most valueless thing. Like, it was delicious. He'd be like, I'd grab a whole thing, take 2 bites out of it and chuck it in the trash because chocolate was just the easiest thing to come by.
Aw, sad.
And it was all free and it was all as fresh as it could be, which apparently is the best.
Yeah, no, I've been to a chocolate factory.
So jealous.
It's the best. Yeah.
And then he's like, also, I worked for a company that made dog food, and on Tuesdays we would taste the dog biscuits.
Huh.
Apparently you can eat them, and some of them are tasty.
Okay, fantastic. So Junpei says, okay, I've bribed you with chocolate despite having, like, 2 episodes where I've learned that bribery's bad.
No, it's not. It's not bad if it's effective.
Yeah, but
It's only bad if it's your first resort.
We already learned that it's not effective in the other times that we showed him bribing people. He was bribing the children with chocolate and then bribing the friends with magic tricks and realizing they're not his real friends.
Yeah, but like...
So it's like, why was all that character development needed if we're just going to forget it? Like, it's almost like though that character development was filler and because it's not being referenced here.
No, it's because this is filler, that's why.
It's just, I don't know, it's annoying. And I'm going to say that a lot these episodes because...
Everything's annoying, that's why.
So the Trailmon says no, and he speeds off, but the kids get on anyway. Not sure how they assume that he's going the right way, but it sure is a convenience that he's going the right way.
Because, I don't know, he's the Beanstalk Express, he can only go one way.
In the original, Izumi tells Junpei to go on a diet.
Ooh, it's rough.
I thought we established that his suit was actually just full of chocolate.
We have.
He's not actually fat.
So here's the thing, though. How has he been in the digital world for 6 months? The digital world in which, A, he's running around all the time.
Yeah.
He's getting into fights all the time.
Yep.
Food is not plentiful.
And it's usually seeds.
It's usually seeds or vegetables and stuff. How has he not lost all the weight?
Because it's chocolate. As I said, like, he has just stuffed his jumpsuit with chocolate.
How has he not run out after 6 months?
He's got a lot of chocolate.
How has he not run out?
He's got a lot of chocolate.
Like...
Alternatively, he's big boned because of the chocolate.
It would have been a really nice thing, and it wouldn't have taken very much to just make him thinner as the story went on, and just have them address at the 3/4 mark, by the way, we've noticed that you've been exercising a lot and you've been eating less because you're here, and thus you've lost weight. Just say that. It will teach kids healthy habits, and it will give a character development.
Yeah, all you've been eating is vegetables, basically.
It will give a character development, and at the end, like, you could have a little thing where he goes home and he's really skinny now, and, like, look healthy looking, and his family has a whole thing about it. Yeah, there's something to be said for, look, a fat character in Digimon, but if all you're going to do is make fun of him for it, it is better that you stop him being that way and teach kids a nice lesson.
Yeah, but Jay, you do realise that would put far too much attention on one of the side characters, right?
It would also require the animators to draw him slightly different every episode, and they're not going to do that.
So back to Tomoki and his bullies. An old Mamemon explains that the knights think the children know where the key is.
Is he actually a different Digimon?
No. In the dub, they call him Eldamon, but no, he's just an old... Like, it's the same as the Elder Kakuamon that we saw at the start of the season.
I don't remember that.
And that's what these episodes feel like, this episode and the episode before it, is that it seems like back at the start of Frontier when we're going around to the towns and we were seeing like the towns of Digimon and the older version of that Digimon.
I guess. This is actually a really weird one, and I guess I'll cover it now. The thing about Beantown, and the strangest thing about it, is clearly a story happened where the other kids showed up in the town and stuff happened. But the entire story told in flashbacks is the kids showed up, there wasn't very much food, but they kind of taught them agriculture, like they planted some seeds, and that made the beanstalk, and that solved all the food problems. So it's kind of like the other kids, like the main children, going into a town and everything, but no problems follow these other kids.
Yeah.
Nothing bad ever happens. It's like a whole other episode of Digimon happened, but it was really boring.
I would have actually liked to see more adventures of Katsuharu,
No,
Teppei,
I wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. What, 20 minutes of, I'm hungry. Oh, we don't know how to grow food. You do it this way. Okay.
Could be good.
No, it couldn't.
So basically, the Elder Mamemon explains what the beanstalk is, and I don't know, I'm not sure how the time frame works out, because...
The whole beanstalk grew in a week.
Basically, and also, he's basically telling Katsuharu what happened when Katsuharu was there, but he's also speaking like it was...
He said it was a legend.
Yes, he was saying like it was before his time, and that's usually how... When someone says, hey, it was a legend, it means before my time. But the Mamemon are still the same Mamemon, and Elder Mamemon... Like, if Elder Mamemon was a child at this point, it looked like a normal Mamemon, then that's fine. But the fact that he looked the same and all the Mamemon looked the same, and I don't know, it's just a weird time frame and the weird wording to say, oh, we Mamemon have this legend. I'm like, no, it wasn't a legend. It happened like at most 6 months ago, but I think it was like a week ago.
Yeah, and it is the most odd. Let me tell you a legend, which all of you were at.
Yeah, except for Tomoki, but he's addressing everyone, and thought that they were going to explain what the key was, and they couldn't because it had to be a reveal that he actually knows what the key was.
It's not even that, just like what the key does.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in other episodes, there have been similar things. Like, Grodomon was searching in the mountain for, I guess, the area that was scannable. So, the key is the thing that if you scan it, you are able to scan everything. Does everything in the digital world have a key? Because they've eaten whole continents before and not seem to have trouble.
Yeah, some parts seem to be easier to eat than others. Some parts you can just, like, touch and you eat it. Some parts you have to find a specific point. It's strange and inconsistent.
Yeah, that's definitely what you'd call it, inconsistent. And they don't care.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying. But welcome to Filler Town.
In the dub, instead of the Mamemon trying to basically survive, the Mamemon are trying to look for the key, despite the key not being in existence yet, because we find out what the key is. It's strange.
And why would they look for it? Because you don't want to find it. The only thing it does is make the area scannable.
Yes, but the thing is, in the dub, the elder Mamemon says that once the key is found, the world will sleep peacefully.
But it won't.
I know, but no, because that is the line that's said, but it's like, if the key is removed, the earth will fall to a slumber. But I think the dub, like, mistranslated it and made it the opposite.
It's like they had no idea what was trying to be communicated at all.
But Elder Mamemon knows. And it's just, Elder Mamemon's not helpful, because he's asked, hey, what's the key? And he's like, don't know, here, have this information. And then we find out, oh, he actually does know what the key is.
And, I mean, I always thought he knew. I didn't think it was ever a situation where he didn't know.
Yeah.
It was just he wasn't going to tell them. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I guess the beanstalk's roots mean you can't take the data of the area.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Which we've never seen before, and I don't think we'll see again.
We did see it with the mountain. Like, we have kind of seen it before.
Oh, yeah. I don't even remember that. So then the other kids are on a cliff, and the Trailmon says he doesn't feel like going any further. In the dub, he says he's just tired.
Also, the tracks in front of him are broken.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to want to mention that. So the kids come up with a plan, decide they're going to fix the tracks by taking the tracks from behind him so he can't escape.
It's really funny.
Yeah, this is actually kind of funny.
Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I need those.
But the thing is, this whole thing is unnecessary when you consider that they can fly.
Yeah, I know.
We've previously seen that Digimon can pick up a Trailmon, because Fairymon picked up it by herself, sort of was able to pick up the Trailmon mole. So why couldn't, like, 5 of them evolve and pick up the Trailmon and put it over?
The only explanation for that
They needed 10 minutes.
is the only explanation is that trains get there faster, or trains know how to get there the fastest, as in like the route.
No, I'm not even talking about like going directly to the beanstalk. I'm talking about just lifting the Trailmon off this tiny gap.
I think part of it was just, I mean, obviously fixing the thing was unnecessary, but part of it was, hey, the Trailmon doesn't want to go.
Yeah, so what you say is, okay, spirit or evolution, we all evolve. We pick the dude up, we put him on the other side, we devolve, we get back inside.
That's true. What interests me is
why is he going? Why is he moving?
No, it's not that, because he's got nowhere else to go.
He can stay still. He's a train.
I know, but for me, the thing of key interest is in Atmon, when they do an ultimate evolution, they go, we have 60 seconds, there's a time limit, we get it. When in other seasons they go to a high level, okay, you run out of energy and they say, oh, I'm really hungry or whatever. These kids, why can't they just stay as Digimon forever?
There is no reason. They could. And
it would be safer.
But the thing is, they've established that they are part Digimon.
It would be safer for them to always be in the human form at least.
Yes. Because they're stronger and they're faster.
So why not do that?
I'm not even sure. And they haven't even said, oh, this is the natural form, so it's like we don't need as much energy to do that. They haven't even stated why they haven't. And you're right, they have in previous seasons of, oh, why can't we stay evolved? Oh, because it takes too much power.
So then they're like, we're going to save the digital world. I think Beakmon says these kids are going to save the digital world. And he's like, no, it's pointless. The digital world's doomed and you're just forestalling the inevitable and everything sucks.
And your friends are dead.
Particularly in the English, he says, no, the Royal Knights are guaranteed to win. Suddenly everyone knows who the Royal Knights are.
Yes.
And they always assumed they were evil, even though they were meant to be good.
Yeah, one character has said, but aren't you meant to be good? And no one else has. Everyone else has been like, well, you're evil. Then also in the dub, I noticed that the Tralmon mentions how he's had many friends who have died because of the Royal Knights. And this wasn't said in the original, and I kind of found this to be a nice part. I mean, it's sad, but it's...
Makes sense why he was scared.
Yeah, it makes sense of this fear besides, the tracks are also really weird and roller coastery.
Yeah, these are the roughest in the digital world. So, as happens often in Digimon, what solves the problem is a big inspirational speech about not giving up.
Yeah, it's like, clench his fist, because I believe in my friends.
And the train's like, okay, guess I believe in them too.
And then, so, in the original, Tralmon wonders if human could really save the world, and Takuya says, well, we will with the help of Digimon. In the dub, the Tralmon mainly mentions being proud of their bravery. Izumi then gets excited, and Tralmon wants her to ride him, and is very blushy about this. In the dub, he says, hey, can you shine me up?
Oh.
It's so uncomfortable.
Bit of a spit polish.
So then back to Tomoki, Dynasmon grabs Elder Mamimon, which is really sad because I love Elder Mamimon. And we hear that Lucimon wants more data, and Dynasmon hears him. Lord Nightmon demands the key. Tomoki tries to evolve. Lord Nightmon wraps him up. Trailmon's on a rough path. It's like a roller coaster. And I kind of also like this, that this was foreshadowed earlier in the episode when the Trailmon said, we don't like going there. It's impossible to get there.
It's not impossible.
No,
it's just annoying.
It was impossible to get there because there was no bridge.
Okay, they could have just said that.
And it's not good to get there because of the roller coaster. So it's just, I really kind of like that because it's not that the Trailmon are scared of anything at Beanstalk Village. There's not like a huge giant that's scary and means they're too scared to go there. They're scared to go there and they can't go there because there's no bridge, and if there is a bridge, there's too much roller coaster.
I honestly think you're giving the writers too much credit.
I'm pretty sure the kids mention it.
I think that the Trailmon are like, no, the Royal Knights are there, I don't want to go.
No.
And then because this train said, I'm afraid of the Digiworld's doom, so I don't want to go.
Oh, okay. But I'm pretty sure on the original, I thought the kids mentioned it, but I might be wrong.
Like, I'm on board with that. That makes more sense, but I don't think they deserve the credit of they had a good idea.
Then when all the kids are being pushed around the cabin, I'd like to point out that Patamon's just floating and flapping his wings while all the kids fall around him, and it's kind of funny.
I did that in a Dungeons and Dragons game once.
That's funny.
We were playing D20 Modern, and my guy had such a high agility, we were in a bus crash, and I rolled so high, he walked around the windows of the bus as it rolled.
That's funny.
Everyone got injured but me, it was great.
Junpei lands on Izumi, and she looks like she's in so much pain. And
that would hurt.
And he's got heart eyes.
Okay, he's got heart eyes, and remember, if his body's made of chocolate, it's all solid.
And it's all being padded by the chocolate.
That's what I just said.
Yes. So the Royal Knights ask why humans are protecting Digimon. In the dub, the Royal Knights say that Digimon are just data. And, well, they would know this. I mean, they are data too. And they seem to be in the dub talking like they aren't Digimon or that they aren't data. I'm like, well, yes, you're in the digital world. We've established that everything's data in this world, even the children.
The worst example of this is very soon when he pulls out Katsuharu's data.
Yeah.
Which, first of all, I don't know what he's doing. Like, what is it? Is this a new ability he has?
It looks really weird because it seemed like there should be more impact than just I touched him slightly and his data
came out. He didn't even touch him. He just sort of gestured. But what's important here is the line he says is, I wonder if you'll turn into a Digi-Egg like a Digimon would.
Yeah, no, I thought that was interesting.
Here's a question.
Yep.
Why would he think anything else would happen? He doesn't know what death is.
Yes.
Digimon do not have a concept of you just dying.
Well, maybe they do.
No, he doesn't, because he says, what if maybe you'll turn into a Digi-Egg like Digimon do. So, what do Digimon do? They turn into Digi-Eggs. That's a one-to-one correlation.
So humans must do that too.
Why wouldn't they do that?
That's
he
fair.
doesn't have an idea. Like, for example, if aliens came to Earth and we met them for the first time, and then someone shot an alien in the face, okay, and then it burst into a giant flower golem as a random thing that would have happened, we couldn't have seen that coming. We would assume that it would die because that's what death is.
That's fair.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, there are basic assumptions because you do not have any other experience. If you, again, I don't want to use murder as an example, but it's the easiest example and it's instantly comparable. If you killed someone and they fell to the ground and a ghost rose up out of them, you'd be surprised.
Yes.
Because that's not what you expect to happen.
Or if they become an egg.
Yeah, if you killed someone and you would never ever, if an alien came down and just say like, Would you die if I shot you? It's not a question you'd ask.
You just assume, oh yeah, that's what happens.
That is what happens to Digimon. Digimon is the only thing these things know. The fact that Digimon in this world, I give it a pass in Tamers, because in Tamers, Earth was up there. You could see it.
Yeah, and they all sort of knew what humans were. They were all saying, oh, you're a human.
Yeah, but they knew there was another world.
Yeah.
And they can kind of observe it. So you go, okay, I understand there's a distinction. These Digimon have no means of knowing what the Earth is. Except there's that elevator, but whatever. The only way they'd know is that humans have shown up. If you've never met a human, you shouldn't know what they are. They should be Digimon you've never seen before.
I didn't actually think of that. That's because I was like thinking, oh, that's really nice. I like that sort of additional thing. It makes him seem that he's thoughtful and he's thinking about what happens when I kill a human. No, it of course he would think that they became eggs. Like he wouldn't even question it.
I always found this really frustrating when it's people should react in a way that makes sense for their history.
Yes.
Not react in a sense that makes sense from the perspective of the main characters. Because it's not coming from them. It shouldn't be informed by that. And that happens a lot in Digimon. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's painful.
So Tomoki's freed, and then the others show up. In the dub, Patamon says that the Trailmon ride was a fun choo-choo. I don't know why he had to say that, but
don't they hit Lord Nightmon with the train?
Maybe? I don't remember.
Oh no, that's in a bit. That's in a bit still. That hasn't happened yet.
So Trailmon helps Tomoki not being captured again by firing a fire blast, and then everyone gives their spirits up to Takuya and Kouji, and
they have a little like animation thing for it now.
Yeah.
It makes it like a shortcut.
But they kind of have done this differently in every episode. But the annoying thing is, I thought this was going to be a Tomoki episode.
You thought it wouldn't be about the only two main characters.
Because I really like Tomoki.
Oh, what a fool.
I feel so bad. Like, oh, okay, we're doing this again, despite we know that this doesn't work.
My favorite thing is Tomoki's on the ground with all the ribbon around him, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he goes, someone help me out here. And Mamimon goes, I'll do it, and throws a bomb at him.
Like, wow, it's a good thing you didn't die.
Somehow the bomb cuts the ribbon and nothing else. And Tomoki's like, oh, that was fine. If someone threw like an old-style globe bomb at you, you wouldn't be like, oh, great, it'll break the plastic cuffs around my wrists.
He was very trusting. So Dynasmon and Lord Nightmon wonder why they're trying again, which is fair enough. In the dub, they said they're dumb and they won't show any mercy just because they're dumb.
I mean, they are really dumb.
Yeah, no, they should not be trying this again. And to some extent, they sort of are trying to distract them so the kids get all the Mamimon in the train. And guess what? They liked that plan so much they decided to do it again next episode, making it completely unoriginal.
It's like they ran out of ideas.
Like, well, what can we have the other kids do? I don't know, just do the same thing we did last episode.
And so Lord Nightmon and Crusade and the other guy kick the crap out of them because they always do. Which, spoiler for next episode's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
Because you know what's really great when you introduce the big super evolution that's meant to be like the top of the line?
Yeah.
Is have them beat one bad guy and then instantly get clobbed in the next episode, then the next episode, then the next episode. We're not changing the plan ever.
Yep.
So that's gonna happen. Oh, they do change the plan, and it's total nonsense. But we'll get there.
Yep. So the other children are saving the Mamimon, and Lord Nightmon captures Kouji and says that Elder Mamimon was harder to deal with.
This is the exact problem with the two kids getting all the spirits.
Yeah, the other kids are basically just targets.
They're completely vulnerable, and that makes them much worse.
They can get murdered.
And I don't know why they don't murder him.
Well, I get the point that I don't think they actually want to explicitly kill them.
Why not?
Because...
Is there a reason...
No, they have actually said they want to eat their data. No, you're right.
Is there a reason to keep them alive? No. Is his value as a hostage more valuable than him dying? Well, first of all, he controls one of these spirits that otherwise would not be used, so obviously killing him is an advantage.
Yes.
Is him being alive an advantage? To an extent as a hostage. Do you need him? No, Lord Nightmon wins that one-on-one fight every day.
And also, we don't know what happens if you kill a kid without their spirit. Like, what happens to the spirit? Like, we've established that the spirit is actually part of, like, their person now. It'd
probably pop out and just be a little statue again.
I know, but just like, I feel like something more significant should happen
about that. No, because you kill them, and then there's data comes out, because that's what happens during the digital world, and then the spirits are there.
Mm.
And so I assume if you take the data behind it...
No, I mean like the kid without any spirit.
Oh, if you kill a kid who doesn't have a spirit?
Yeah, like...
Well, we know, you see the data.
I know, but I'm just saying, what would happen to the spirit? That even though it's with Takura and Kouji, does Takura and Kouji keep it? I feel
No, they still have it. Yeah, it would be in their Digivices.
I know, but I feel like something should happen to that spirit because the person that they're destined to be with, that spirit's dead now.
But you know they're not destined to be with them because you can trade them.
Which begs the question, why didn't Takuya give Izumi Gigasmon?
Because she wouldn't have wanted to be not pretty.
I think Gigasmon's pretty.
Well, she wouldn't think so.
I'd want to be Petaldramon.
As the only girl character, that's all she cares about.
100%.
Also, it's because the writers didn't think about it or anything that happened in the show. God, Frontier sucks.
Yeah, sometimes.
Anyway, I know I've been called over dramatic, that I've exaggerated on this point. I don't think I've ever been unclear on it though. But I don't know. Oh my god, it's painful.
So Dynasmon grabs Kaiser Greymon, Lord Nightmon launches an attack at Magna Gurumon for not paying attention, and then he says a line, I'm not sure really what it means, but I kind of like it. He says, somebody as beautiful as me will always be forgiven for everything. Like, okay.
I think somebody said this is unforgivable.
Yeah.
I don't remember either. You like it because it cuts away though. It's like, ah.
Yeah, and it's like he's got the sparkles. I kind of like the sparkles.
The big sparkle town.
In the dub, he says that your attacks won't do anything because I'm beauty personified compared to you lowly humans.
So, I don't know, Lord Nightmon and Crusader, and God, I don't remember what the other one's called. Dynasmon? That's it. Just are winning and are about to kill them kids, and then the old Mamimon goes, oh, by the way, the key's up there. And they grab it and they eat the whole area and then they just bugger off. Even though they could have murdered all the children because...
No, but before that, because you're skipping ahead
a bit. I don't care. Sorry, go ahead.
So, when Lord Nightmon is thinking about him being beautiful, Izumi wonders what's wrong with him. And I'm just like, well, he's beautiful, clearly. Can't you see this? Junpei says that he's a narcissist. In the dub, again, there's more sarcasm. And they'll think like, oh yeah, she's all that. Then the Mamimon run up the beanstalk and they're recounting what the elder said about how the beanstalk promises LiT to provide their village with crops. In the dub, the elder Mamimon is saying this, not the small, adorable Mamimon just repeating it, which is much cuter.
Totally forgot about this part.
So then they jump on Lord Nightmon and distract him for long enough so Magna Gurumon can free Koichi, and then they have this cute like brotherly moment of thanks.
What level of Mamimon?
Their child.
So, how can any number of children bother a royal knight?
Next episode, we have babies using bubbles to defeat the send you to the moon attack.
Yeah, I was gonna complain about that when we got there.
Yep. So, when we have this beautiful brotherly love moment, Lord Nightmon says, beautiful. And it's so cute because he's got Mamimon climbing all over him and they're obviously not bothering him. They give him a bit of a distraction. They give him a slight distraction. Because of these things falling on him.
You're doing me a bamboozle.
He's just standing there with like 3 Mamimon just climbing over him and he's just beautiful. And in the dub, she says how, oh, brotherly love is so grand.
Oh my god. If Frontier had come out nowadays, all that the Crusader would be saying is, oh, this is my aesthetic.
This is so dank.
Oh, this is aesthetic. No, not memes. It's just aesthetic. Oh, aesthetic. That's all it would be.
Good point.
Mine is the top tier aesthetic.
Top kick. Junpei says that Lord Nightmon's weird. In the dub, JP says that her helmet is on too tight.
Oh, come on.
Lord Nightmon says that they shouldn't make Lucemon wait anymore, so they start just beating up the children. Then, this is when Elder Mamimon says, hey look, guess what? I knew where the key was the whole time, they're the golden beans. So Lord Nightmon says it's beautiful because it's the power of friendship once they grab the beans and they are able to eat the data. And then the Elder Mamimon tells Katsuharu to go home once the royal nuts are buggered off because they don't really care about being the kids. They could probably eat them. Like, they could have eaten them for breakfast, basically.
You know what? I would actually maybe even forgive it if, like, maybe they were just fighting Digimon or whatever. But the problem here is that if their express desire is, oh my god, we love the idea of eating humans, why wouldn't they go back and finish the fight?
Yeah, and that's what they've mentioned a few times. They want to go to the real world so they can eat people, basically.
That's their whole character. And the only opportunity they are given to eat people, they're not allowed to do because of the script.
Yes. And I feel like if I was a bad guy and all I wanted to do was eat people, I would do it. I would say, all right, Koichi, I have you on my hands now. I'm gonna eat you, that would destroy Kouji as a person.
You know what is totally okay? For a bad guy to clearly beat the hero and then the hero to narrowly escape. You know what's not okay? For the bad guy to beat the hero and then the bad guy just leave.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Frontier, like, a lot, is
It happens all the time!
Characters will just like, oh, we beat you now? Alright, let's go. And I think it happened, like, once in 02 and you were really mad about it.
I was so upset! It was the dumbest!
And now it's like, it happens every episode, is that it's almost like the Royal Knights only care about the data, but we've seen that that's not the case. They also want to eat the humans.
LostinTranslationmon episode... What is this?
106.
106. Everyone is Vamdemon.
Everyone's Vamdemon. No, but at least I think Vamdemon was better than this.
In the circumstance, he wasn't. Because at least these guys grabbed the powerless human themselves. They didn't bring little lackeys around to be like, yeah, you do it.
Yeah, little tiny Devi balls.
It wasn't Devimon, it was Pumpin' Gotsumon.
He also sent around Devimon.
Yeah, no, but it's not the same situation.
Yeah. So, Aldamaimon says that he has one bean left and he's going to plant and he hopes for it to become beanstalk, and it's obvious it will because the bean is glowing.
Question for you.
Yeah.
When the beans were on the beanstalk, would you say they were in proportion?
They were very large.
Yeah. How are you holding one in his hand?
They looked bigger than a Mamimon. They were very large. The pea pod was probably the size of a human.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he shouldn't be holding that.
Yeah, and maybe it's meant to be a different one, but I'm pretty sure it was glowing, so...
It was definitely a gold one.
It's to incite hope in the viewer. So the other kids go home and they ask Tomoki if he's coming too, and he says that he wants to save the world. And the dub actually gives a line to the girl, who isn't given any lines in the original version.
They had the voice actress in anyway,
yeah,
so...
They gave her the line to say, are you sure you're not coming too? Because she just does not speak in the original.
There it is.
So then there's this cute moment when Katsuharu asks Tomoki to push him onto the train, which Teppei just sort of stands there.
Don't say anything. Hopefully they won't notice me. I was the much bigger bully, but whatever.
Like, I mean, I think the clip is Katsuharu pushing him on the train, but Teppei's definitely helping. And I don't know, Teppei is the one I worry about. Katsuharu clearly shows that he has some remorse, and he does apologize. Like, as soon as he sees Tommy, he's like, sorry for picking on you. Yeah. Teppei never does. And it's annoying.
I don't think that, hey, you can push me now is like, it's not an adequate, that's not really an apology.
What do you think this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
I didn't like it. I mean, I don't know if I've been unclear about that issue right now, but I did not like this episode. I don't like either of them, honestly.
See, I feel like I gave this a 6 when I watched it, but I think it's more like a 5. How would you rate this episode?
I would rate it as a 3.
Wow, so it's bad as good as the other episodes then.
Yep.
And how would this episode compare to what you predicted in Obnoxious Synopsis?
Well, I called it more or less in what will happen. There will be a big beanstalk, and they will be there for no reason. And the Royal Knights want to scan it, and the kids don't want them to, but the kids will fail because we're still establishing the Knights as credible threats.
We already know the Knights are credible threats, and them walking away constantly is making them, like, not as much of a threat.
I called what would annoy me too, how awkwardly shoved in the beanstalk would be. It was so awkwardly shoved in that it was right over there, but they couldn't look at it last episode because it didn't exist yet.
Yes, basically. And you're right, they should have been able to see it. Imagine if, like, I don't know, 20 episodes ago, you looked into the distance and saw a giant beanstalk.
And then say, that's interesting, and then just never look at it. And that would be fine.
Or maybe, Takuya asks, hey, Bokumon, what's that? And Bokumon says, I don't know, that's never been there before, because it's a new thing.
It would be too.
It would be new, and that would be clever. They would say, hey, this thing that's now in the distance, and then they come to like, oh, that's the thing. Oh, and that explains why it wasn't there previously, because it was just built.
I would also accept, and if anyone can send us screenshots, I would totally accept it if it just happened to be in the background of last episode or the episode before.
It was not. I'm pretty sure.
Like, I feel like I would remember, but you know me in Digimon and watching closely, I don't.
Yeah, no, I thought I would notice it, but no, I'm pretty sure it's not there. But if it is, that'd be great. And you know what? It'll make Frontier better if that was the case, but I don't think it is.
I bet it's not there, though, because they didn't know this episode would happen. They put Tomoki and everyone in the bag, and then they said, we'll figure it out next week.
Yeah, that seems to be how some of the episodes feel.
I would be shocked if they know how the season ends at this point.
What was the major difference between the Japanese and the English version? Because I did not have that many, actually. I guess, I don't know, still Crusadermon, I guess, but that's always a difference. Like, there weren't any glaring differences that I noticed.
Sorry. My favorite line, I totally forgot to mention, was when they took the old Mamemon hostage, and he goes, "I don't care what happens to me." And the old Mamemon goes, "We don't care what happens to you either."
That is clever.
It's the I wonder if you will, if like we scan a human, if you'll become a digi-egg.
Yeah, because that's in
Like
the
the
dub
Digimon
only,
would.
isn't
Yep.
it? Yeah.
So weird.
Well, I guess the girl speaking in the dub was different.
It's not the biggest, which
I
is what
know.
you're asking about.
I know. I'm just saying that's the main thing that I noticed.
Oh, fair enough.
Because there weren't actually that many differences, and sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's not.
This is a rare case of two episodes that are connected that we don't actually do together.
Yes, usually we've got it pretty well laid out that we have the two episodes.
Well, usually the timing just happens to be good.
Yeah, I mean, part of me said maybe we should make it a 3-part. I'm like, no, I couldn't make Jay watch 6 episodes of Digimon Frontier.
You could have sold it to me if you said, "Hey, Frontier will be done sooner."
Yes, but the thing is, then we'll have to do another 3-episode because otherwise we'll have one episode on its own.
That's okay.
But then still, we'll be covering Frontier for the same amount of time.
No, but they'll have to do less in 1 week, and it will feel different.
I don't know. But yeah, it did cross my mind, but I already have a pretty well laid out schedule that so far we're sticking to. And that's why I'm very strict on the schedule, because I like sticking to things, because I also then will have to reorganize them, and that will take time.
Fair enough.
The second episode that we watched this week starts off with, in the dub, a dumb line about the train giving up, and because he makes these woo woo noises and says, "I give up."
Woo woo! Whatever.
I don't know why, like, the Trellmon aren't that big of a character in the original. Like, they're just sort of, they speak, but they don't really have personalities. Like, the most personality was the train that they
The
were...
old one.
The old one that was speaking in old man speak. But besides that, he didn't really have a personality. In the dub, I'm pretty sure they're also all voiced by the same person. But...
Should be.
Yeah.
They're all one Digimon.
Yes. In the original, they're not voiced by the same person, I'm pretty sure.
Clearly.
Yeah. So that was a thing in the dub instead of nothing. Tomoki's wondering how the others are and if they got home. Patamon is asleep on Azumi's lap, and it's really cute. Like,
We
he's
will
napping.
we'll establish, by the way, the other kids went on a train to the probably elevator to go back to the real world.
Yeah.
That's a thing you can do.
Yeah, I know.
Great. Now we've established that. We'll talk about it again later.
Well, I'll just mention it now whilst we're on the topic.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That we got an Anonymon who said, why did
That's
the
what I
Royal
read.
Knights just go there? Maybe they don't know. Maybe the Royal Knights don't know that they can go to the human world just on a train.
How? But, like, you can't say... There's no defending the idea that this could be anything but terrible writing when their core motivation is to go to the real world, and that's why they've like submitted to Lucemon, because he's promised them that, and they could just take a train ride there.
I'm like, oh yeah, just hop on a Trailmon. The thing is, they would have to convince a Trailmon to go.
No, they wouldn't. They would just threaten him.
Good point.
Also, if they weren't evil, just if they were nice guys, why would the Trailmon object?
Good point.
Trailmon don't have like a duty to protect the real world.
Also,
they're just traveling.
Why don't Dynasmon and Lord Nightmon fly there? Because we previously saw the reason that Takuya and Tomoki, when they tried to go back just by walking along the train line, is that if you just go that way further enough, it's not the fact that you can only get there by train. You could probably just get there by flying. And Dynasmon and Lord Nightmon do fly a lot.
You could argue they don't know where it is. The trains do, though.
Yes.
That's why you would get a train to take you.
So I feel like they don't actually want to go to the real world, but the script says that they do because it makes them seem scary as threats. Like, oh, not only are they threatening the digital world, they are threatening the real world as well, so they're bigger threats.
Well, obviously. I have a quick question. Where were the Royal Knights this whole time until they showed up?
They were being sealed by the 4 holy beasts.
Because...
No, I have no idea.
The idea that, like, Lucemon was sealed up makes perfect sense. In fact, he still technically is. But it is kind of implied the Royal Knights have been out doing stuff this whole time. How have the kids not heard of them until now?
Maybe they're on the moon. Maybe the digital world is bigger than we think. Maybe they were good guys. Maybe they were just conveniently hidden by the script. I don't know.
No wonder people say this is the worst part of Frontier.
So, you're right. I didn't actually think about that, but that doesn't really make too much sense.
So what you're trying to tell me is that this show's not bad until you think about it.
Basically, yeah. But the thing is, maybe...
I die.
And they should have said this when Baronmon said, hey, but you've been doing so much good these past few months. Because he does mention, but you're meant to be the good guys. So if you just had an added on line of mentioning, but you've been so good previously, that would sort of say, hey, during this whole time, the reason we haven't seen them is because they were off doing good.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's because you don't really think about them doing good things.
It's because that's only a thing from the English.
But no, I've never thought about that. And thank you for making me think about that. Now Frontier is worse.
You're welcome.
They all arrive at the Village of Beginnings, which Bokumon says, we don't even know if it's still there. And it turns out it is.
Well, this is the first time I even knew it existed.
Yes.
In this world. Obviously, it's been one in every season, but it's the first time. And it looks really weird.
Well, we don't know if there's one in the Tamers universe. There was never said to be one in the Tamers universe.
Oh, I just assumed it was.
No, well, we don't know that there was.
No, I just assumed that they went there. I guess I forgot.
So the whole village is a tree of digi-eggs. In the dub, Nairmon starts making egg puns.
The safety of this village and everything in it is critical to our very existence.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to be here. Excited? Excited!
Wow, I can't believe it! They're even prettier up close.
The village is full of them.
Extraordinary and educational.
Oh, stop that.
I want to correct you.
Yeah?
The whole village is a big tree over lots of little bushes of digi-eggs.
Yes.
The tree doesn't have any digi-eggs on it.
It's very pretty, though.
It's a big rainbow tree. It looks nice.
Like,
it looks out of place.
It does look very nice, and it's very nice to look at. It's got like this sort of Aurora Borealis around it.
Yes, not Ouroboros Borealis, Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
Here, in this time and place, localized in your kitchen.
So Swanmon shows up and she's the protector instead of Elecmon, and this is another armor level Digimon because I guess they have to put an armor level Digimon in every episode basically.
It's like they didn't want to come up with new designs, and they're like, well, there's these designs we got left over from 02, the best season of Digimon.
Let's
So
put
just
them in the other best season of Digimon.
Oh god, they're intimately related. Also, it makes you uncomfortable that digi-eggs grow on bushes. Mm-hmm. Does that mean Digimon are plants?
Well, in Adventure they were in cots.
Yes, that means they were eggs. You know, being treated like they were eggs.
And now they're on plants. It makes no sense.
That means they are plants.
They also have to be watered.
That also means they're not eggs; they're seeds.
No, but they have to be. Yeah, they're seeds.
Yeah,
they have to be watered. I might be wrong here, but I think there is a word for egg that's not tama, and it sounds a lot like the word for seed. I think.
I couldn't
but
tell
I
you.
could be wrong. So it
speak
might be a
Japanese.
Japanese pun, but it might not be. But I think that rings a bell that there is a way of saying seed that's basically translates to egg. Because it is. That's what a seed is. It could be construed as being an egg sort of thing. Like it brings life. So the kids say that they mean no harm. Swanmon believes them. Like straight away just says, okay. She's very believable considering like the whole world's being absorbed.
Yeah, but it's only being absorbed by like 2 people.
Yes, but you'd think that the protector of the babies would be a little, apprehensive or sort of wary. Like Elecmon did not trust TK for a while.
Look, I'll agree with you, but it's a weird digital world where a majority of people in it are really nice. Like, have there really been... There were the evil spirits, and then there was Cherubimon, but like there's not like... It's in 02, there were lots of mind control guys, so they were all evil. In Tamers, there were just straight up evil Digimon around.
Yeah.
In Adventure, obviously, there were as well. This digital world's incredibly civilized.
Yeah, no, everyone's pretty nice in this. And I didn't really think about that, but yeah, everyone's really nice in the season. But I still think Swanmon's far too trusting of these kids.
Yeah, I'll give you that, but they've only got so much time. They've only got so much time to waste.
So an egg hatches into Pabumon, and Bokumon says that he gets emotional whenever new life's born. And then Patamon also gets emotional because Bokumon's emotional. Then they call each other daddy, mummy, and son, daughter. It's really cute. In the dub, it's just Papa, Mum, and my baby, which I don't think is cute. But I do like Papa, Mum.
Well, so they've committed to it to an extent. They also mentioned that like the eggs of the evil warriors should be around.
Yeah, and they start sensing them.
Didn't you tell me when that whole arc was going? Did you notice that one didn't have an egg? Ooh, what happens?
That was not the evil spirits. That was...
I thought it was.
No, that was the Digimon inside Sephirothmon.
No, I know that one, but I'm pretty sure there was at least one evil warrior.
Yes, Mercurymon did not have an egg because he wasn't there. That was just his spirit. Because he was inside Sephirothmon.
Okay.
Sephirothmon was the Digimon.
All right.
All the other ones, and I made a point to say that all the main evil spirits besides Mercurymon had an egg.
Okay.
And there was a reason why Mercurymon didn't, because he was inside Sephirothmon, who was the Digimon.
Yeah.
That was basically just him controlling the human spirit from inside of himself.
Fair enough.
Which technically, I mean, I feel like the human spirit shouldn't have come out from that. But no, you're right. We saw the eggs go to the Village of Beginnings. So that's, we know where they went.
Which...
No, they did bring up Village of Beginnings in the first episode. Bokumon says, "Oh, that egg's going to the Village of Beginnings."
It reminds me of in Scott Pilgrim. Someone mentions in Scott Pilgrim, he just go around killing people all the time, and someone goes, the author came out and said, whenever Scott appears to kill someone, they don't die; they just disappear, reappear at home, having learned their lesson.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in Digimon.
Yeah,
they don't kill anybody. They just get reborn having learned their lesson.
So they see all the babies in beds, and Swanmon says that the Trailmon used to take the babies where they belong, but they haven't come for a while. Then she mentions how Beanstalk Village disappeared a while ago. And I'm just like, that literally just happened? What do you mean a while ago?
I don't think it's disappeared a while ago. I think she said that like the bridge over the cliff essentially broke, so they don't come through there anymore.
No, but then she says maybe it has something to do with the fact that Beanstalk Village disappeared a while ago.
Oh, in that case, maybe there was a big time jump between...
No, because the start of the episode starts with Tomoki saying, "Hope those kids that just went home are okay."
Okay, maybe Digimon's bad and the script is bad, and
Maybe.
I shouldn't spend time... I shouldn't waste my time defending it.
I'm surprised with how much you're defending Digimon in this episode.
Somebody's gotta...
Did that negative letter get to you, Jay? Are you trying to make Frontier seem better? Because, like, I'm enjoying Frontier.
Why?
And because I think it's enjoyable, and as I said,
Really?
It's enjoyable if you don't think about it. Frontier is a fun season. It's fun. I don't think it's as good as Adventure, but it's fun.
Of whom is it an indictment that you could enjoy something without thinking about it?
When Savers are still the best.
Well, we'll see.
Or at least the most underrated.
I'll be the judge
You
of
will
that
be the judge.
as the resident Digimon expert.
And if you're wrong, you're wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I won't be.
Savers is great. So you're going to like Savers then, I guess.
I guess not. It says Digimon in it.
No, it's great.
Prepare to be wrong.
So she says that the Trailmon are hiding in the tunnel because it's the Beanstalk Village is gone. I'm like, they didn't want to go to Beanstalk Village to start with, so I'm not sure what you're talking about there, lady.
Also, we know that, but there's a direct line there from that tunnel to the
Yes.
little Village of Beginnings, so it has nothing to do with that. They're just cowards.
Yeah, she basically just wanted to say, hey, remember that episode that just happened? That wasn't filler because we're mentioning it.
You're right.
In the dub, Takuya says that the Trailmon are more like babies than the babies. I'm like, no, they're both babies.
By the way, the trick is that this one's filler too.
No, but it was good. It had the evil spirits. I liked that.
I'm pretty sure we're never going to see that again.
I really want this to be... The Village of the Beginnings is really important, okay?
It's not, actually. It's really not.
So then the kids decide they're going to help. Izumi's the first one to say, I'll help, because she's the girl, and who else will say it, but that's fine. She's helpful, she's diplomatic. This isn't as bad as she's gotten in Digimon Frontier. It's not as bad as rubbing her bum against the teeth of a train.
At least she didn't say, I've always wanted to be a mommy.
That too.
And stay at home and not work and have a husband who does. You know, like that other character you love.
And like 7 children. So when they're all looking after the babies, Izumi helps Junpei feed a Pugumon because he's having trouble.
And Junpei's like, oh, it's almost like we're parents.
And then
Zoe's
says,
like,
no.
You can just continue this on your own.
And she walks off, and it's actually a funny moment. And then but the thing is, she turns away without any expression, because I paused it to take a screenshot to post on social media, right?
Yeah.
And she just turns away, but there is no expression or anything. And it almost seems like they were too lazy to draw anything, so they just kind of had her floating off the screen.
No, for me, it's like that scene where they're next to the fire and he tries to kiss her and she just puts her hand in his face.
Yeah, it's like no.
At this point, she's not surprised or disgusted. It's just,
yeah,
this is what you just have to deal with him.
So Junpei says, oh, she's just shy. In the dub, he says, she's not comfortable with our love yet. And then Pugumon poops in his hand.
He deserves it so much more in English.
Yeah.
It's the most disgusting thing he's ever said.
But the poop is edited out in the English version. So he just looks at his hand and cries because Pugumon's not there anymore.
So you're not... You're just not comfortable with her love for me yet. That's the line.
Yep.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Then we see that Koichi's wondering if Koichi and Kouji were given milk as babies because they were together. I'm like, well, of course you were.
Okay, yeah.
And then Patamon says that Bokumon is great at being a mum. Then Swanmon offers them some tea. and it's really nice. Junpei comments about how the Puppamon must love Izumi and that she's become his mum. In the dub, he's saying how he basically loves her because she's spoiling him, and also he calls the Puppamon a little booger, because I guess that's what he looks like.
It does. Tommy gets really sad when they mention mom.
Like, oh, mother, oh no.
And then everyone's like, oh no, now we're sad too because the child is sad. Then he's like, no, I'm fine. They go, oh, we're fine. Also, did you know that we're half Digimon now? Yeah, we are. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, everyone sort of recovers quite quickly. Though there's a funny moment in the dub where Namon's worried that there's something wrong with the food and he's going to get sick again. I don't know, I just really like Namon
funny?
talk. I like Namon talking.
I don't like food poisoning.
It's a joke.
Food poisoning as a potential that didn't happen?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Then Izumi says, hey, we should all try to convince the Trailmon to come. Oh, also, I missed something. Kouji wonders that they have 2 birthdays now. The day when they were born and the day when they became Digimon. And I kind of think that's sweet. So then, while the kids are off getting the Trailmon, the Royal Knights show up. And Lord Nightmon says it's beautiful and it'll be a shame to eat the data. In the dub, Dynasmon says that it's a birthday cake instead of being silent because his mouth doesn't move.
Yep.
I'm like, well, I'm glad they put that line in.
I looked at my note where it just said it looks like a birthday cake, and I couldn't tell if I had said that or if a character had said it.
It can be both. So we see that the Trailmon are scared.
And one's German.
One's German. One's always German.
Is it the same kind that was German last
Yes.
time? At least they're consistent.
Yes, they're consistent with the personalities that each of them has. So
But does that imply it's the same one?
back at the village, Swanmon's trying to fight the knights, and the kids return to see that Swanmon's hurt. Takuya and Bokumon say that if they scan the place, no more babies can be born. And Dynasmon says he just does not care, because if they do scan the data of the babies, they'll just clone the babies, and clones are going to respond to Lucemon more, and they're going to obey him easily. And it's the same in the dub.
Can I paraphrase what was just said?
Yep.
It was, hey bad guys, this is the village of beginnings. Don't you know that what you're doing is bad? And they go, actually yes, we do know that. We're the bad guys.
Yeah, that seems to be a lot of the conversations that the characters have with the Royal Knights is, hey, why are you doing something bad? Because we're bad.
Why are you doing this evil thing? Shrug?
Yeah, and it's kind of annoying that every episode when the Royal Knights show up, the characters try to reason with them, like saying, hey, don't eat this place. I'm like, but we're bad guys. We're going to eat this place.
So Takuya and Kouji have their big evolution again. And we skipped the speechy bit, which they made a whole animation for last episode.
As I said, it's very inconsistent. They've done different things in every time they've evolved. They've had them just holding up their digivices without saying anything. They've had them just being able to give them the spirits. Don't they still have the spirits from the last episode anyway?
Arguably.
I don't know.
But I guess what's important is that they go to the big new the forms again that they lost in the fight with last episode.
Yes.
They lost. It was the same day.
Yeah.
In the story, it was the same day.
Yeah, but at least the Royal Knights just laugh at it and say, look, we're not actually here to fight, we're just here to eat the data of the Village of Beginnings.
It's like, you're not even a fight, we know how this will go.
Yeah, and it's like, well, we know that we'll win.
So we won't even bother. It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's the only good part of the whole episode. Because
And
they learned.
Then the other kids start rescuing the eggs while Takuya and Kouji are fighting. And I mentioned this when we were discussing the last episode, is that I think there must be another psychic connection, because Takuya and Kouji are loudly discussing, hey, while they're saving the eggs, we'll get the eggs on, we'll fight them.
Are their mouths moving?
Because their mouths don't move because they're in their evolutions without mouths.
I thought that Garurumon had one.
I think that... I'm not sure. Look, we've seen him talk without his mouth moving, but he's talking.
We have for sure.
Yes. It is very inconsistent. It's like how Arbamon did open his mouth, but he also spoke with his mouth shut. It is a little bit inconsistent. But the point is, I don't think they're having a psychic connection, because it doesn't have that muffled, this is me thinking voice.
Yeah.
It seems like they're yelling.
The best line they yell when they're doing this is, they're just provoking us. It's like, no, they're not.
They're beating you.
They're killing you right
Yeah.
now. The idea of a provocation is like you were trying to defend something and they're weaker than you, so they're trying to draw you out. No, they were just beating you up real bad.
So Izumi runs off to try to be useful, and she yells at the Trailmon and says that this is their job to make sure that the babies have safe lives and the babies aren't even going to be born. Then back at the Village of Beginnings, the eggs start glowing.
You mean they began to glow?
They began to glow. And Takuya and Kouji get beaten. Lord Nightmon asks why they're protecting lives other than their own. And Kouji asks why they want to destroy everything so badly. And this is the dumbest question. Again, it's, hey, bad guys, why are you doing this bad thing?
The worst part is they have told them.
Yes.
We're taking this data to LostinTranslationmon because we're going to go to the digital world and have fun there. So it doesn't matter
You
what
mean real
happens
world?
here. What?
You said digital
I
world.
said real world.
Oh, did you? Okay, I heard
I don't
digital.
know. There's a recording of it
Yeah.
somewhere.
So Dynasmon says it's because it's LostinTransslationmon's will, and Takuya asks if they're scared of LostinTranslationmon. In the dub, he says that they're brainwashed by LostinTranslationmon. So, which is a bit different. Like, there's one, like, you're doing it by your will, but you're kind of only doing it because you're scared, and one is, like, you're completely under his control.
I would think the cowards one is actually more of an insult because
Yeah.
it's if
Because brainwashed is you're not in control. At least this way, you are in control, but you're scared of a child-level Digimon.
Yeah, if you tell them that they're brainwashed, if that's true, they're not going to stop. If they're cowards, you'd think that might insult them to the point where they might do something else. Neither of them will work, though.
So Dynasmon wants to send them to the moon because he gets mad about being said that he's brainwashed.
What I want to note is that he does the wyvern breath thing. At first, like, he doesn't know it sends him to the moon, though he should.
Why didn't it send? Did it send the bubbles to the moon?
But he puts up the wyvern thing, and Lord Nightmon doesn't this time have the, oh, not that attack.
Yeah, because that was just to give suspense to the viewer.
I think it was like an idea they had that it would be something special, and then they couldn't figure out how to make it special, so they had to teleport them to the moon, and then they said, oh, well, let's give up on that idea. I really think this is written week to week. Like, they don't know what they're going to do next episode.
Sometimes it does give that impression. So the baby Digimon blow bubbles, and for some reason, I'm not sure how this works. This should not work.
Yeah, they there's infinite bubble blow, and then they cover the attack, and the attack
sends the bubbles to the moon. I think that's the only way that could possibly work, is that all the bubbles are now on the moon. What they should have done is added like this maybe 3-second clip of all these bubbles like chasing around the Starmon on the moon.
That would be really, really funny.
And the Bergamon are just sort of hiding, and the Meteormon are hiding in rocks just from these bubbles that have just appeared on the moon. How funny would that be?
I would have been really on board with that.
Like, that would be hilarious. Why don't we write Frontier? Because that
It's already over, that's why.
Yeah, because that would have been actually funny.
Also, if I ever have an IMDb page, I don't want Frontier to be on it.
Yeah, what if you wrote a season of Digimon?
I'd write it better than this.
What if you were asked to direct, like, a movie of Try, or a... What if you were asked to direct the V-Tamer anime?
I could do it.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about directing, but I could do it.
Only if you cast me to voice Taichi, though.
No.
Why not?
You'd be Gabbo.
No, I want to... At least Zero, come on.
Fine. No, but Zero's meant to have, like, a tough dude voice.
Oh, yeah, tough dude, but cute personality. You know, I feel that. That's cute. Anyway, so, and I still maintain that this attack should only send things to the moon.
It's really funny.
Because he thinks everyone I've ever used this attack on disappears.
So it must be the most powerful attack in the universe. No, it teleports them.
It teleports them to the moon.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah?
How long do you think this fight went for?
Longer than it should have.
No. Estimate. A minute?
Okay, it probably was very quick. Yeah, a minute or two.
How did the kids pick? Because they
A
have
lot
to
of
pick
eggs.
them. Every egg. Thousands of eggs.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Thousands of eggs in 1 minute. There's like 4 kids.
Yes. And Zumi runs off to get the Trailmon.
So she's not helping.
Yeah.
They pick thousands of eggs, put them in baskets, and then load them onto Trailmon in 1 minute.
Yes. I think it's because this fight goes for a lot longer in canon than it's actually going in real time, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, it has to go for longer. She has to run from the village to the tunnel to convince the Trailmon and then get back.
Which took long enough for Swanmon to get beaten before. So
No, yeah. I thought you were mixing the timing up. No, you got it right.
Yeah.
And also, I should mention at the beginning of the fight, the two main characters say to the kids, by the way, hide behind that bush so they can't take you hostage. We learned a lesson from last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Stay hidden, as if that would somehow protect them.
So the Trailmon are coming, and then the eggs of the evil spirit show up and get given the strength from the spirits. And
It doesn't hatch them, it just summons
yeah,
them?
just sort of the eggs glow above the spirits. And then, without any animation to show us otherwise, all the kids have their spirits again.
Yeah, not only do they have them back, they've distributed some of them to these guys. They're all in the human form, I think.
Yes.
Which is, we've established, is the weaker form.
Yes.
And then they all do one attack at combine the Royal Knights. So it's not like they're all focusing on one. They're all focusing on both of them.
Yes.
And then the Royal Knights say, well, we have no chance, we have to leave.
Yes. Also, I'd like to point out that a bit earlier than this, Crusadermon in the dub makes an egg pun. It's very important.
I don't remember it.
There's lots of egg puns in this episode.
So technically, when they're fighting the two main characters in the hyper evolved form, they're fighting 20 spirits worth of power.
Yes.
They just got beaten by 10.
Okay, so my reasoning for this is that the 10 spirits individually, all together, because they're the legendary warriors, are stronger than the royal knights. Because they are the legendary warriors, and because we've got the embodiment of all 10 fighting together, they are stronger than when they're all put together in 2 bodies.
So wouldn't they at least fight as the, 6 main kids? Wouldn't they fight as their beast spirits or whatever? Because that's more powerful then?
Yeah.
Why do they all give their spirits up? If it's worse.
Yes, that too.
That's the best response. Why this? Yes.
Yeah, well, no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm still saying that it is a little bit silly that all 10 of the human spirits are able to fight these 2 ultimates that we've given this unbeatable ranking to. And it's like, it's the power of the script, right?
You know what's even better?
What?
We have to leave now. I think they might beat us. But by the way, we will take 2 seconds to scan the whole place. They weren't looking for a key. They weren't waiting for anything. So
they could have scanned this the whole time. They could have just tossed Takura and Kouji to the side and scanned the data.
They could have tossed Swanmon aside. Why did they bother fighting her?
They didn't even have to land. They could, from what we've seen, they could have just hovered above while Swanmon's doing her thing. Swanmon's not even aware.
Yep.
Scan it. Hell, even do it when the kids are still there.
Just leave.
You'll probably kill the kids in the process. But they didn't do that because otherwise that would take less than 20 minutes and they needed 20 minutes.
And I also noticed when they scan the land, first of all, they got this little island in the center, little islands around, fine, whatever. They never ever scan train tracks.
No.
Train tracks are unscannable.
Okay, I have a theory for this.
If you rebuilt this digital world out of train tracks, it would be safe.
Yes. So what if everything that is natural and is part of the ground, you can scan?
They scan buildings.
Yeah, okay, that makes no sense. And never mind. Maybe they're natural occurring buildings. As you do. Maybe in the digital world they are. But the train tracks they don't have, maybe because they're too small to have data. I'm not sure, but you're right. They never scan the train tracks.
What do you mean they're too small to have data? They took the leaves of trees.
Look, the train tracks are clearly the most magical of all the properties in Digimon.
Yes, because physics doesn't apply to them either.
They also are going into space past the electromagnetic field that they couldn't go past.
Yep, space trains.
Space trains.
Woo!
So they retreat because they say that's the best option that we have because we clearly can't defeat these Digimon that we've defeated before. And then the evil spirits all smile at the kids, and I think this is really cute. They don't talk though, which bugs me.
Because, the only thing that could be said about them that was any good was they all had distinct and interesting personalities.
Yeah, and they don't. They are blank. They are just nothing in this. And the thing I liked about the evil spirits is that I think I liked them more than the kids. I found them all interesting. Like, Grodomon was a bit of an idiot, but he wasn't an idiot in the original as much as he was in the dub.
The problem with
This
Grodomon
was a bit silly.
Problem with Grodomon was that, he didn't have as much interaction with the other ones.
Yes, but he still had a personality. He thought very highly of himself. He called himself Ore-sama. He was very... He thought he was the best.
What made them interesting, I guess, as a team at all, was that they really did seem like a dark version of a DigiDestined group.
Yes. Because
they were like... It was like, what if DigiDestined group weren't friends?
Yeah, imagine if these were the bullies. If we found out...
That would be the best.
It all
matches up. It all matches up.
Yeah, there are 4 of them. There's one girl. They're all sort of the same height. It's just that...
Personalities work?
It would have been great. And what if that was an abandoned storyline they didn't go with?
How good would it be if the reason that Teppei was being all weird when he saw Tomoki was because he knows Tomoki can evolve and they're enemies, but Tomoki doesn't know about him?
Yeah, or maybe they would have amnesia now because they were Digimon and now they were defeated and killed and maybe they were reborn. But they could have fit that in, and sure, it might have seemed shoehorned in, but not as much as some other things that happen in Frontier.
It wouldn't be shoehorned in if they planned it from the start,
yeah,
unlike anything they've ever done.
Yeah.
I really don't think they know how the story ends. I don't think they know.
So the evil spirits become data again, they smile, and all the kids are safe, and they go on the Trailmon. We have more egg puns in the dub. Swanmon thanks them. The episode ends. Finally.
So I've said this before, I'm just thinking about it again. I feel like you can tell that they don't know what they're doing. And the best example of that is Kouji's story starts with Ophanimon being like, by the way, there's a mystery around you. And he goes, what is it? And they go, I don't know.
I don't know. Come to find out.
Yeah, no, it's we need something. All right, there's a mystery around this character. What is it? We'll figure it out later.
You know what's annoying?
That's why it's so thin.
Ophanimon knew.
Of course you did.
Because Ophanimon gives the vision to Koichi. Ophanimon didn't say, hey, Kouji, BT dubs, you have a brother?
Should. Your brother's here. And he would be like, what? My brother? And then if they couldn't communicate beyond that, fine. But, like, that's more of a story for him than there's a mystery.
She was purposely vague. And it's annoying, and I never really thought about that much. But she should have. She knew. It's not like that she only found out in the digital world. No, she knew the whole time because she gives the vision to Koichi.
If you were friends with somebody and you found out one day that they were adopted and they didn't know, what is the first thing you would say to them? Hey, by the way, there's a mystery about you.
No, I'd sit them down, give them some tea, and said, "Oh, by the way." What do you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
I thought it was a bad episode.
See, I thought it was better than the last episode, at least.
You covered it perfectly in the problem that if the Edronites had just flew over?
Flown over and
flown,
eaten it, yeah.
That's it. If they just flown over and just taken the data and left, there wouldn't have been an episode. And when you think of it like that, you go, well, okay, why are we here?
Look, I liked the evil spirits are there, and yes, they could have done that a little bit better, but they didn't. They could have, but they didn't. But I liked how they show Izumi to be the best at communicating and how she runs over to talk to the Trailmon.
I mean, I guess. It's just really thin.
And she doesn't hit on any of the Trailmon either.
Great.
And I really liked how the evil spirits came back. I'm glad that they didn't just forget that happened. I feel like they should have stuck around like, oh, by the way, we now have these 4 friends who tag along with us now. Or if they didn't send the bullies back and they said, okay, bullies, come along with us for a while.
Oh, they could Kenta and Kazu it.
Yeah, and then they can say, oh, I wonder what would happen if we gave the kids the spirits. And then their phones would become detectors, and then we have an extra 4 kids. And because for some reason, we know that these kids, like when we have the 10 all together, they're more powerful. They could now have those 10.
I mean, any of those ideas might have been kind of clever.
Because otherwise,
they decided to do none of them.
They're not using those 4 spirits except for the big evolution.
Yep, that's exactly right.
And I don't know, I feel like they could have used it a lot better. And I don't know, it's just, it makes me sad because I feel like they could have used those spirits in a lot better way than just them showing up. But I still liked the episode because it did say, hey, remember those spirits? I know I'm conflicted.
I take issue with the idea of, hey, remember this thing, because that doesn't mean something's quality just because they remember something. But you know what? I'll have to admit, if you don't think about it, I guess it's great.
Yeah, no, that too.
It's not though. It's really not.
What did you rate this episode? Because I gave it a 6, I think.
4.
See, at least we both agree that it is one ranking above episode 41.
Ugh.
And how did this episode compare to your prediction notes in Obnoxious Synopsis?
Okay, so is it possible that glean means a different thing than I think it means?
I don't even know what glean means, man.
I need to briefly look it up, because the only thing that glean could mean... Because to glean I always thought was like to interpret, which doesn't make any sense here. So glean means to obtain from various sources, often with difficulty, or to gather after harvest. Okay,
I guess you could do that.
So you glean the eggs and then you scram. Fine. The episode title makes sense.
In that way, sort of?
It makes perfect sense. It's just the dumbest thing.
Yes.
So I couldn't possibly have figured that one out. And protect the Digi-Eggs, the miracle of disappearing life? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I said they go to some sort of Village of Beginnings.
In the recording, yeah, you said there was the Village of Beginnings.
But otherwise, I don't know. I guess it would be 4, and I guess it wouldn't be filler.
But in the dub, they didn't call it Primary Village like they called it in the dub of Adventure. They stuck with the original name, which is Village of Beginnings.
I'm pretty sure this is a filler episode, but because there is like this new power that they're probably never going to use again.
I'm not calling it filler on the basis that it sort of gives like an ending to the evil spirits, and it's a nod towards it. I will admit that the last 2 episodes with the Beanstalk and the bullies, were they even... Oh, maybe they're not filler.
They fully are.
No, they had the bullies, and
Yes, those bullies that showed up for 2 episodes and then were gone and were never going to get mentioned again.
No, I don't think that was filler.
Had no impact on the story whatsoever.
No, it did. It showed that there were other kids. You wanted to know where the kids
That doesn't
went.
have an impact on the story at all. That doesn't mean anything.
Oh, by the way, we got a comment on last episode from Adam Pulver, and I'm just bringing this up now because it's relevant, is that he said, what if these 4 weren't the only ones that decided not to go back on the train? Because why would 4 out of these hundreds not go back?
We talked about that on the show, didn't we?
Maybe, but I'm just, what if these are the only 4 that survived, is basically what Adam Pulver says.
Oh, right, as in, like, they could die. Well,
they could.
I'm going to say this right now. The writers would never contemplate that as a possibility.
But it is a nice thought, like...
Yeah, kids dying. Oozing all 50 of them.
So what was the major difference that you noticed between the English and the dub and the original?
She's just not as comfortable with her love for me yet.
See, I found it uncomfortable in both versions. I'm not even sure if I know that there's a big difference. I mean, oh no, the egg puns. 100% it's the egg puns.
Well...
They don't exist.
What does Junpei say in the Japanese again?
He says she's shy.
Okay, she's shy means, okay, well, the parents thing, that was I thought it was funny, but she wasn't on board and she didn't think it was funny. There are lots of ways that could be taken. The other one is, she loves me, but she doesn't know it yet.
No, I took it in the same way that both meant the same thing. He's saying, oh, she's shy, so she's not comfortable with her love.
Yeah, it seems... I think the English one is a lot more disgusting. That's me.
Yeah, but it is... The English version is worse. But, I don't know, my big difference was the egg puns, because how could you not?
I just didn't notice them anymore. It's just Digimon. Making puns, I just don't think about it.
I just want to talk briefly about the village of beginnings.
Okay.
So, in Frontier, Swanmon owns the village, but not Elecmon. And Swanmon, as I mentioned, believed the kids straight away off the get-go. Like, the kids said, we're not evil. And Swanmon said, okay. But in Adventure, Elecmon kind of didn't trust TK straight away.
Yes, we covered this already.
Yeah. And instead of the kids, the babies being in cots, they're on trees.
Yes.
And I don't know, like, I'm not sure what I prefer. I think I prefer Elecmon. But I do think that the Village of Beginnings in Frontier, albeit is smaller, is sort of pretty, but I do like the big blocks that's in Primary Village.
Okay, the problem with this one here in Frontier is that there are magnitudes more eggs. There are...
Well, there is a reason for there being more eggs. It's because they don't have where to go.
But the capacity for eggs, because they're just on the trees and stuff,
yes.
There are more babies. The eggs, it is implied they're the normal number, because where would the eggs go? They don't take them anywhere. They have to hatch first. They take the Tremon take the babies. So there are tons and tons more eggs in a much, much smaller space.
Yes.
Which, the whole thing couldn't function. It can't. It doesn't make any sense. And I know that, like, there's an abnormal number of babies there. But, like, with Elecmon, you know, it's sort of implied that once Digimon hatch, they're weak and they need protecting. But he's not literally their mom. Also, baby Digimon don't need to be looked after like this. Aren't the Digimon... Oh, maybe they're not. The Digimon in the school, weren't they babies?
Yes.
They're not crying and needing bottles. Digimon don't age like that.
Maybe they do in this one. Maybe they have to. Maybe they need this mother like Swanmon was being.
But they age by evolving. They don't age by being literally older. They never do.
Look, I think that they could have done this better in the way that they only have fresh forms, which are the babies. They are the babies.
Sure.
And the school has the in training, so we have Tsunamon. But we had Tsunamon and we had Pugumon in the nursery and they were crying like babies. Like, Pugumon is an in training level, so it would have been at that school. So the fact that it went from these are kids to these are babies and they're the same level is strange. We can say that maybe they do age a bit in days, because that's how they do in the VPET. So maybe we can say that, but I feel like it could have been better if it was just the baby level Digimon. You know, like the egg that hatches becomes a Pubamon, which is a baby, so that's fine. Have that be a baby, but it's just weird to have the in-training level Digimon be there.
Absolutely.
I also want to address something else. We've had a lot of messages saying, no, Frontier's good because we have a lot of the kids losing, and we haven't really had that in much of Digimon. But the thing is, it's good that kids don't always win all the time because that is annoying to see, but it needs to make sense why they lose, and they have to have a reason for not dying.
Yeah, I mean, to use an example, because I had to spend a lot of time thinking about this, I wrote a book. I think it's fine. And there are bad guys in it, and sometimes the good guy does not instantly win, because that doesn't always happen, obviously, in media, of course. The challenge is how does a good guy lose but not get, killed, or the bad guy doesn't get their goal immediately. That is an interesting challenge.
Yes, but Frontier struggles with this.
Digimon struggles with it.
Yes.
Digimon says if the bad guys win, they just leave and let the good guys try again later.
See, they should have a reason. Like them sending the children to the moon was silly. Yes, whatever, fine. But it gave them reason for why the knights not hunt them down, why the knights not kill them. They thought they were gone.
I really wish they would cover he thinks that attack is really deadly, because
it'd be funny.
First of all, it'd be really funny, and there's so much comedy in that, actually. It's really funny.
Yes, and the scene that I mentioned they should have added, where all the bubbles show up at the moon.
Yeah, and that would sort of confirm the theory. But the problem is that, like, if he'd used any other attack, they would have just killed these kids.
Yes.
So it is hyper convenient that one attack sent them to the moon.
Okay, so maybe this is his attack that he uses when he's lost his temper. Yeah,
which again would be really funny if he thought this is my strongest attack because every opponent I hit with it is obliterated. But he sent the burgers to the moon.
No, that's where they live. But imagine if we just
that'd be really funny.
Yes, but imagine if we saw some Digimon we were on the moon and the Digimon said, "Yeah, I was sent here by Dynasmon with his Breath of Wyvern attack."
Oh god, it would fix that whole thing and give this whole thing like a really good comedy angle.
It'd be funny.
But instead, we are stuck with this makes no sense and is dumb.
Like, they were just sent to the moon for no reason. I would be so on board if they just said, "Oh, this attack sends them to the moon." Like, it doesn't even have to say why, because it's Digimon.
No, it doesn't need to say why.
But the fact that it was a big attack that sent them to the moon, did they become rockets? Did they just were hit so hard they were flying? Because that's, I think, what the show's meant, like, is telling you what happened.
What I really appreciate, and I don't think about this very often, but I'm thinking about it more because I'm reading Worm again.
Yep.
Is when attacks have weird properties that only those attacks have. Like in Worm, there's a person who has like these bombs and like that all do weird different stuff. One explodes and just freezes time in an area, and if you're in that time area, you're frozen for the next 100 years. Another one turns whatever's there to crystal. So like if it hits you, even if you're indestructible, you now have like a crystal arm that will just fall off. And that's all really interesting, and it's different to just a bigger, more powerful explosion.
Yes.
It is creative and it's interesting and it has more variations and applications. Whereas in Digimon, I constantly feel like, yeah, they're doing different stuff. Oh, this one's a fireball, this one's a missile. But really, they're just hitting each other hard.
Yes.
Which is why Atmon's really good. I mean, until they stopped doing that. But it was really good.
I still have faith.
The idea that not their attack isn't more powerful, their ability is more powerful is so much more interesting. And Digimon just doesn't care.
And that's sad, because I feel like if Digimon cared a little bit more, it would be a much better show.
I like to think that if I've done one thing by being on this show for more than 100 episodes, is make you think, oh man, Digimon's not as good as I thought it was.
I never said this is perfect. I said I always knew that there were problems, because...
But now you know.
Yeah, now I know that there's a lot of problems, but before I'm like, there are problems. And it is sad, because I really do like Digimon, but they don't do some things. Like, I knew that Frontier had problems, but I thought the main problem was the other characters are just side characters. I thought that was the main problem, and a little bit of, man, Izumi is a useless character.
Yeah. And let me rephrase. What I really want, whoever comes out of this, is that when you're watching the show, instead of thinking, this is a great show, if you don't think about it, now you think about it.
Yes, and that's sad. Like,
if you do like it still, then you like it still. That's cool, but at least you thought about it.
Yeah, a show should be, it's good, and you think about it, and it's better.
Absolutely. We have thought about this and come up with the idea of it going to the moon, and that makes the show better if that exists.
But it doesn't.
There are whole subreddits and forums and stuff about Breaking Bad and going into all the theory of what was going on there, and that made that show really interesting. Game of Thrones has all its theories, which I think is also interesting.
Yes.
I don't like the fact that you have to come up with reasons why this show isn't a rust bucket.
Yes, you have to dig very hard to find good things about Frontier.
I'm afraid Lane is going to be like this.
I hope not, because I've spoken to some people who say, yeah, Lane's great.
Because we're consuming it too slowly. And so it's giving me time to think about how maybe not good it'll
Oh
be.
no, that's not good. But we had to do it every month. So.
Yeah.
And we only had time to do one episode. So
I have said we could just watch them all and just do lots of recordings.
I would die.
Yeah, whatever.
My attention span isn't good enough, and also, like, I'll forget things. So, for Screenshot of the Week this week, mine was Crusadermon just with the Mamimon crawling over her and saying, beautiful. I love it. It's great.
Mine is Kouji and Kouji looking at each other like they're in love.
It's very romantic. It's beautiful, though. I like how our screenshots are actually related.
They're similar.
Because yours happens, and then mine happens.
Okay.
It's straight after each other. Like, she's saying beautiful in relation to Kouji and Kouichi.
Well, it's a good little bit.
So, the Digimon introduced in this episode, I'm going to say Mamimon because we haven't spoken that much about Mamimon. He did show up in Adventure, but I don't think he was quite this cute, and it was kind of gross because he was at a dinner table getting drunk.
I remember that, yeah, all the Mamimon.
Yeah, in France, we're just hanging out, and they're all different types of Mamimon.
Yeah.
And no, but this Mamimon looks smaller and is cuter. But so what do you think about this version of Mamimon? Because he's adorable.
It's fine. It's
actually
like the laziest design.
What level did I say Mamimon was previously? Because I was wrong.
I don't know. You said it was a child.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. He's not a child. He's a perfect.
What?
Sorry, I should remember this because he was the perfect level in VPets. Yeah, I just remembered all of a sudden, like, wait, what am I talking about? Of course they're all perfect, because I was thinking how this big Mamimon, and there's, I think Prince Mamimon is the exception, and he's an ultimate. But no, the Mamimon are all perfect level Digimon, because they were always one of the perfects you could get in the VPet toys.
Well,
there was always
really,
one of the Mamimons.
They're really lazy designs, and I don't actually like them.
Oh, shut up, I love them.
It's a ball with arms and legs!
So really, the Mamimon, the whole group, should have been able to fight more than they did.
Yes. They were...
That's why I thought they were children, because they were so small.
The babies are more effective.
Yes.
That's so dumb.
It's so dumb. The baby level Digimon are stronger than all these perfect level, but still they're very small. So yeah, I don't know why I said child, but it just dawned on me, yeah, they're not children. I'm pretty sure they're perfect. No, they are, because of the VPets.
Okay.
So what about Swanmon? Because I do not like Swanmon.
Yeah, it's a bit lame, I guess.
It's a swan. Congratulations.
You mean it's a swan?
It's a swan.
Wank.
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 So on to Postmon Pat.
So we had a weekly poll, and that poll was, who is the biggest star of Digimon? Edamon, Edamonkey, or Superstarmon? And Wildwing64 says it's Superstarmon. His English voice and the episode setting reminded them of the myth that Elvis is alive and well on the moon, and that's hilarious. I'd never heard of that.
I actually have, but I forgot about it, but I really hope that's why they gave him the Elvis voice.
That
because
seems
that's
so
beautiful.
narrow.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Riku says that on this poll they're choosing Edamon because he's the only one they've ever heard. I guess they haven't seen this episode?
No, they probably haven't watched the dub because in the original, Superstarmon's just a Superstarmon.
Yeah, so those are the two comments we got.
So we had 18 total votes.
I'm voting Edamonkey, by the way.
Yeah, I'm voting Edamonkey. I already voted. I voted Edamonkey. So I guess 19 votes, including Jay's.
Woo!
So in last place was Starmon with 2 votes.
Wrecked.
In second place was Edamon with 7 votes. And Edamonkey was on 9 votes, but if Jay said 10 votes, then and one vote, then it's now 10 votes. So Edamonkey won by quite a bit.
He's the best character.
He's the best because he's like, yeah, I'm a bad guy. No, I'm not. I just kind of want to have fun, actually.
I just like hanging out with kids. He's so fun. We got some mail. We got a Gmail, in fact, from SP, who says, it's funny how a Leomon species, Wizamon species, and an Angemon species have died in Frontier. These are the Digimon with the highest species death rate. They would have liked to see purified versions of the Dark Spirits. I think the issue there is there's nothing to purify there. I mean, I get that the Darkness one got purified, but I mean, he was really evil.
No,
Radamon's not dark.
Calmaramon is. I would have liked to see slightly less evil versions. Maybe, I don't know. I love Ranamon though.
Like, what? How could Petaldramon be less evil?
I don't know, it's kind of dark looking. Make him like more flowery. Oh my gosh, make him like a big tulip or something.
Calmaramon's not evil. She's ugly.
Can someone please draw Petaldramon but purified, but instead of like being a gross petal,
it's just spring.
It's just like, you know, in Pokemon when they have like the Sawsbuck, and in spring the spring version is all flowery. I want Petaldramon, but instead of being all sort of dried up, he's like this beautiful like orchid or something, like a rose. That'd be so great. Why didn't that happen? Oh my god, I want good Petaldramon to be a flower.
And they also say that they like the Royal Knight arc because we see the kids interact with more Digimon in meaningful ways. Also, the main characters are in a dangerous spot. Their fight scenes have an aspect of loss. I'm not going to say that losing is a bad thing for the show. It's obviously not, but we've covered it enough in this episode where I don't think... I think they lose, and then the bad guys say, well, enough of that now. Enough of success. We hate success. Enough of that. And then that's going to eventually lose to their downfall. And not in like an interesting hubris way, but in a, we couldn't figure out how to write it into the script way. Marius has thoughts on the PV of loss. You know, it's got one thing, and then it's got two things, and another two things, and then there's one thing and one thing lying down. Yeah. And it's like, that's a cool... We should have checked if that was the format of the trailer.
No.
Okay.
Lost.jpg is not a Japanese meme. I don't think they would reference
that'd be good.
Loss as in the meme.
Especially not for their business.
No.
Their real thing they have to advertise.
No.
All right. They said that it seems like Tai and Hikari are the only chosen to have dark evolutions in adventure. Why does it happen to them and not Matt or Daisuke? And the answer is about Daisuke because 02 is bad, and Matt because Matt doesn't ever push his Digimon. He doesn't do that, does he?
No, when he has
he was evil. He should have.
With Taichi, and he's like, well, you're going to evolve, and Government didn't want to evolve, then he's like, well, you're my partner, so I have to. And then I said that I wanted him to be like a black Metal Garurumon.
Yeah.
That'd have been so cool.
Yeah, no, he should have. No, we talked about that at the time.
Yes.
Okay, I agree with you. They should do that.
No, I think we spoke at length that he pushed his Digimon. It should have been like, even if it was just like the black tint, I don't know.
So, and they also say that Dagomon shouldn't come back as a villain because the thing about Cthulhu is that when he wakes up, Earth and humanity will be doomed, and we know the epilogue.
That makes sense.
Fair, yeah.
I still would like a conclusion to the Dark Ocean arc because I feel like that was going places and then stopped.
I would like the epilogue to be not canon. Like some of it, whatever, but obviously the tenets of it is bad. Ryuichi says that Jay was generous about the Digimon episode.
Digimoon?
Digimoon episode. Sometimes I think they're spelling mistakes. And Frontier is their second favorite season, but Digimoon is a 2 to 3 out of 10. Oh, they really didn't like it.
See, I liked that episode. I thought it was great fun. On
With the Will, we go on from Togatak, which says they like the idea of humans hanging out with Digimon who aren't genetically compelled to love them.
And I like that. Like, we have Bokumon and Naemon, and Bokumon and Naemon aren't said, oh, hey, look, you're destined to be with this human, so you have to love them. And they still hang around, so that's fine.
They're always like, you're stupid.
Yeah.
We got one from Shadow Shinji, who says that Patamon's adorable. The headcanon is that Bokumon and Naemon are the first gay couple in anime to adopt a child.
That's cute.
Are you sure there's no gay couples at all in anime before this?
I know. I thought there may be, but maybe not.
It's like 2005.
I know, but the Japanese media does not seem to like gay people. I think we mentioned this in the last episode.
Chuckmon says that if Digimoon episode can't make Jay smile, nothing will save the season. It's their favorite episode of Frontier. They say Frontier makes use of Takuya's goggles the most out of any season.
And I like that.
Except Vutame, and Vutame is the best. They love how I like the story of Taichi's goggles in the manga. Like I just said, it's the best. Who installed the Trailmon supports around the digital world's atmosphere? No one will ever know.
Dynasmon, because he sent it to the moon.
Perfect. And how did the kids get to and from the moon with that electromagnetic stream? I don't know. Apparently you can just go through it if you're strong enough.
If you're Dynasmon.
Not if you're Dynasmon, if you're whatever Takoyaki turns into.
Oh, Burning Greymon.
Burning Greymon can get through it. And the dub voices for the bullies were jarring, and I totally agree. And regarding Atmon, the personalized food was great, which is a bit you really like.
Yeah, it was my favorite part of the last episode.
We go on from Azrael, who says they've been busy at work with thousands of documents, and they've been listening to the podcast and Meatloaf albums. Now, what I want to point out here is it was the podcast and Meatloaf albums. That means they're not other podcasts. It's just us.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having us nestle deep into your ears while you are busy.
With Meatloaf.
There's Meatloaf and us stuffed into your ears. It's a hell of a party and everyone's invited. We got one from WildWing64 who says, it shouldn't have taken 37 episodes for the Disc 1 final boss, but it was an enjoyable episode and the last 4 have been enjoyable. The moon was pointless filler, but was silly and fun.
Yeah.
And they're not sure if it's better than the Bergamon episode.
It's not. The Bergamon episode's the best episode in Frontier.
They say that Lord Nightmon is like James from from Team Rocket.
Yeah, and
He's effeminate by design, but also flamboyant and has a rose. But that doesn't mean he's gay.
And the thing is, I think that Crusadermon was changed from a James to a Jesse character. And I just find that kind of funny. He's gone from an effeminate male to a very, like, evil lady character. And that's the character of Jesse. So I just find it funny that he's moved from being a James to a Jesse.
So, they also say they don't think Haru is gay from Atmon because he has a crush on Ai.
I don't think I said that Haru is gay. I just said he wasn't straight because he can be bisexual, pansexual. I don't think that he is straight because I think he likes Yujin too much. Like it's not just guys being dudes at this point. I think that I hope there's something going on there because that will be amazing to see like a non-straight character in Atmon that's not just the background characters that we saw at some point.
What was it? What's the difference between a bisexual person and a unicorn?
What is?
They're unicorns on TV.
Oof.
And if they will call it a unicorn, not a horse that hasn't picked a side.
Oh no. That's so true. It's so sad. But yeah,
or a horse that's keeping its options open.
I think it would be really great if Haru was bisexual, but I don't. He's not gay because he has feelings for Ai, or it seems to be the case that he does.
Also, I think I fell into that exact problem that you were saying. Oh, I think she's evil because I read it. I'm like, he has a crush on AI. Oh yeah, because Yujin might be a robot.
Yeah.
No, her name is AI. And finally,
she's probably evil. Look, he has crushes on both evil characters. Let's just make that the thing.
I didn't know that Compare the Meerkats also in the UK.
Yeah, Sam Krieger from the Moncast also said that the Compare the Meerkat ad, and I'm pretty sure it probably started there. And Sam actually said that they had little plush toys for the meerkats.
That's cute.
And that his dad has them in his car. I'm like, oh my god.
Comparethemeerkat.com.au.
I guess
that's what I thought it was.
I guess it's .co.uk because that fits too.
.co.uk. It's not as good. On Tumblr, we got an Anonymon who says, do you remember a show called Dinosaur King?
I don't even know what that is.
No, I don't. Jay would find so many plot holes and errors in logic there. Well, gonna say now, don't intend on watching it.
I don't even know. I don't know what that is, sorry.
Maybe for an April Fool's 7 years down the line.
Maybe when we're doing...
When everyone forgets I said
Ball.
this. Another Anonymon says that they just caught up and they love what's being done. And they laughed along with me about your nya catchphrase.
Everyone loved that. And, like,
it's so funny.
I was told by multiple people who listened to the Raw to not cut that out of the full version.
It's really, really funny.
So I left it in the edited version because everyone was enjoying it so much just listening to the Raw.
You're 24 now and I'm still imagining you just be like, hey Langley, nya.
Nya?
Do you want this lamb, nya?
Why did I tell you that?
You're in class and someone's like, oh yes, so what year were the Nazis defeated in World War II? And you put your hand up and they're like,
I put my paw up.
May. And you're like, it was in 1945, nya?
I hate myself. I guess now we know the reason why I hadn't... Like,
Watashi knows the answer, nya?
There's a reason why in the 4 years of knowing you I haven't told you that story, and this is the reason.
It's so funny.
Would you like to continue reading Postmon Pat now, Jay?
Such a dork. Okay, we're back. Yeah. If someone were to hypothetically draw something Digimon related for you, what would you like to see?
Petaldramon as a flower. We've established that now. I don't know, like, I really like Dracomon and Airdramon. They're pretty cool. But Petaldramon as a flower, now I think about it, is probably the best thing ever. Like, it's just a really cute flower, and he's going all like, I know he's doing his ding-dong thing, like, and he's giving some advice, but he's a flower instead, like, ding-dong, always remember to water your flowers and give them plenty of sunlight. Adorable.
I want to see
the very best.
Agumon in a little suit standing at the podium at the UN.
Aww, that's so cute.
And they said they can't wait for us to cover Savers. Nya? That's what it's in the letter. It's in the letter.
Oh, is it? Oh man, I should know this. I set up the Postmon Pat document.
Another Anonymon says it's hard to keep up with so much content. Well, we better slow down, start making stuff.
We make 10 episodes a month, Jay.
Oh, well, you have to edit them, not me.
Me.
They can't wait to check out Universe Digimon Universe Atmon, and maybe V-Tamer after Frontier and Savers is done. IRL Yuya says that they're interested to hear our thoughts on DigiBowl. Haven't we talked about it already?
I can't remember. I know we watched it at some point, but I can't remember if it was for the show or we were just watching it. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't find it that particularly interesting because I don't know anything about the Super Bowl besides they run a lot of ads.
I thought it was an I Will Show You DigiWorld once.
Maybe, I can't remember.
You made me watch like all the clips.
It might have been an I Will Show You DigiWorld at the very start, but I know we watched it. But I don't find it particularly that interesting because I don't know anything about the Super Bowl and I don't know anything about American football.
I'm pretty sure I've told this story before, but when they were running the DigiBowl here in Australia, I was exposed to Digimon to an extent. I forgot all of it, which before we started watching the show, so that was a thing. But I do recall, having thought about it now, that they had these two helmets. One was red, one was yellow, and one represented, Digimon Season 1, the other one represented Adventure. Adventure represented 02.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Tame. No, it was 02.
They did 2 seasons. One was Adventure and 02, and the other season, the next year, was 02 and Tamers.
Yeah.
And there were helmets.
Yeah, and it was between 1 and 2 because the Digimon movie had come out in between, and that was my only exposure to Gargomon.
Right.
And I know because Gargomon was like the best.
Yes.
And I remember calling up like 30 times in a row to vote that say that 02 was better, which is very embarrassing to me now.
Can you please tell your parents that story?
And
just because I want them to, I want to see if they actually did realize, or
I'll get to the reason for that now.
It's too long ago for them to punish you.
Yeah, and the reason is I only realize now, and especially after you told me the story about how you spent all this money on the phone on
Habbo Hotel.
On Habbo Hotel. It only occurred to me that every one of those calls must have cost money.
Oh yes, each call probably cost like $3.
Yeah, and I called like 30 times. So that must have been a lot of money, but I never heard about it. And it's not like it would have been hard to figure it out. It would have been, it's a family of 4 people, and they would have asked my sister, and she would have said no, and they would have asked me. They never asked.
Maybe your sister was doing something shifty, and she took the blame for it because she thought it was something that she had been doing.
That would be really funny.
Can you please ask your parents tomorrow?
I had to look up when the DigiBowl was on.
Like 2000.
Yeah, okay.
Or 2001.
Yeah, I would have been young enough for that to go. I would have been like 8 or whatever.
Yeah, your parents would not punish you now.
No, I mean, obviously not. I wouldn't expect them to. But like, that would be really interesting. I might bring it up with them.
Yeah, because I'd like to. Like, maybe they just maybe they never looked at the phone bill.
But like, it would be such a weird thing. The question would be, do you remember 16 years ago getting like one absurdly high phone bill?
Yeah, look, I would like to see their reactions. Please ask when I'm around. Do it during afternoon tea tomorrow.
I think I might. It'd be interesting.
And can I record it?
You can do whatever you want.
I mean, it could be very boring. If it's
just note it down like Comey does.
Who? Oh, Comey, right?
Yeah, just contemporaneous memos.
Yes.
It's a good idea. Oh boy, there's so many left. Okay, where are we up? We have an Anonymon. It says, if the Royal Knights want to go to the real world so bad, why don't they ride the Trailmon? We discussed that.
We discussed that.
I totally agree.
Me too.
Mormon Nerd says, as a Christian, they'd like to explain their thoughts on the 3 great angels. They each represent 3 major aspects of God. Seraphimon is the representatives of his justice, Trubimon is his knowledge, and Ophanimon is his love and the mercy of God. In their personal importance of the 3, because of how it relates to us. In Christianity, the love of God is often compared to that of a mother, because that is universal, that most people know and relate to. So it has symbolic meaning. The faith archangel is just angels that hold authority, which isn't much of a shocker. The Digimon are named after types of angels, but only 2 of them are in the King James Bible. So the King James version of the Bible that they use. Ophanim, they don't know where that came from. Other things they know about angels are irrelevant to the topic. I think some of that might have been lost there, but I think the concept is really interesting. Yeah. I don't know a lot about the deep lore of the Bible, to be honest with you.
See, I don't know anything, so it is very interesting to hear that perspective because
May's a-religious, and I was raised Jewish.
Yeah, I basically had no religious upbringing. I had religious education in primary school, but that was like in prep, and it was just basically the story of Easter, and I don't remember much of that.
Because you're in a weird category, which a majority of people who do not follow a religion, you would describe as atheists, where they've been raised in a certain way, but they've made a decision. You are a-religious. You were not raised with something.
No. I wasn't baptized. I actually really enjoyed religious education when I had it in primary school because it was interesting. It was stuff that I'd never heard before because my parents didn't give me any of that story. Like, I just knew, like, okay, we have Easter, we have Christmas, that's all there is. And so I was hearing these stories for the first time, and that was so interesting. So many kids were misbehaving in religious education, and
it's a bit bludgy.
I was a bit of a problem child.
Really?
Yeah, I know that's surprising, but I was a bit of a, like, I could not pay attention to things, and I was very, like, in computer class, my teachers hated me because I was already done with the work. Like, they were explaining, I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, I'll just go on Habbo Hotel or something.
So what you're telling me is that the child who would put up their hand and say things like, so Buddha got rid of all his worldly desires now?
No.
That was a problem child?
Okay, so religious education in the schools I went to was really just Christianity education.
Oh, we got taught.
Like, you got actual religious education. I didn't. But because I'd never heard these stories before, I found them immensely interesting. So I actually behaved myself in religious education. My really religious teacher who was doing religious education loved me. I was her favourite. She picked me to play Mary in our interactive whole school and you're about to see how a-religious I am. What's that thing that they do? The Christmas story? What is it called? The play they put on? There is a word for it. Pantomime? I think it's Christmas pantomime. I don't know. I'm not sure. The thing that they do.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Now that you've said that, I can't think of it.
But there was, like, an interactive whole school one that they sort of made up the whole school, and the gym was turned into, like, the barn.
Thank you for this gold, frankincense, and myrrh, yeah.
So
this is my son Jesus, yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
I just can't imagine it.
No, this is when I was 12. This is before I was in that phase.
Yeah, when you were mature.
Yeah, I was more mature when I was 12.
You unmature.
So they cast me as Mary. So in the final scenes. So that's important. So yeah, she loved me. So the point is, I liked religious education because it was something I never heard of before. So if we ever miss religious elements, I would like to be filled in because I feel like that's interesting, and I feel like Digimon sometimes tends to have a lot of religious stuff in it, which I'm not getting, and I know that Sephiroth is a thing from Jewish faith, isn't it, Jay?
I don't know.
It's Kabbalah.
It's Kabbalah, it's an offshoot of Judaism, I guess you'd say. It's the deep state of Judaism. We got an Anonymon who says, to be serious though, do we both feel like Frontier suffers from having the mythology of the setting be much deeper and more interesting than the actual plot? So much of the Frontier's digital world is just there, with backstories about the cool things that these legendary Digimon rose up and did, while the characters we follow just sort of bumble about vaguely, learning about so many things their Digimon predecessors achieved, while doing next to nothing themselves. On one hand, yes. On the other hand, I feel like that backstory people say is interesting, but if you really think about it, it's not really that interesting. There was a big civil war caused by stupidity, which LostinTranslationmon showed up and fixed. I guess it's interesting enough. It in the sense, like, you've got a sort of a Game of Thrones backstory where, like, the king is mad and everyone has to rise up.
Yep, but the thing with the Frontier is a lot of things you actually have to think about, and it's either better or worse if you think about it.
And finally on Reddit, we got one from Neoboo. It's a great name. Who says that my breakdown after hearing May's story, the Nya story, was great. Thank you.
See, everyone loves that.
That's the new Black Hole Greymon to me.
But in the opposite way.
It is. It really is. Alright, everybody, join us for the next episode of Kenka Bansho Otome, Bad to the Bones.
Or Annihilation of the Hometown, Messenger of Hell Forest Village.
And Now You See It, Now You Do Not.
Or Fight Together, Kouji's Vow. For Weekly Wonders this week, I'm actually going to say something that might not translate well to anybody who's not Australian, but there is a series done by an Australian YouTuber called Friendly Geordies, and the series that he has is called Chronicles of Yilmaz. It's very short. I think it's got 11 parts at the moment.
And they're each like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it first started in another episode that he made called High School Heroes. But when Jay first showed me Chronicles of Yilmaz about like 2 years ago. No, maybe I think it was before the podcast, so it was over 2 years ago now, maybe 2.5. I just did not find it funny, but it has since grown on me because, and this is something that just happens at Australian public schools, is you have this character who is the Gilmaz.
I would describe these videos as in-joke generators.
Yes, and it's very funny. It's like a shared large in-joke. And they're very funny, but I'm not sure how well they translate to non-Australians.
I'd be so interested for someone to watch all of them and be like, I didn't get it.
Yeah, like, I want to see what, like, an American thinks about this, because this is just a character that very multicultural public schools have, and I guess probably private schools too, because just not Jewish schools, because they're not as multicultural.
I ain't never seen it.
Yeah, because you're not from a multicultural school. You went to a Jewish school.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I went to a monocultural school. That's the whole point of that school.
Well, at least you have like European Jewish people, and then you have Israeli Jewish people.
Oh no, there were Jewish people from lots of different places. They were just all Jewish people.
Yeah, the same sort of culture. But at schools that have...
Except that one. You know the one?
What one? What?
The one whose mom wasn't Jewish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that's because his dad was a Jewish person.
Exactly. But not Jewish technically.
Yeah. But he was also the principal, so...
No, he wasn't.
I thought he was the principal. He was
the
the teacher. Okay. Anyway, the point is, this might not translate super well, and I was going to pick something else, but then Jay said to just pick this one, so I'm just picking it. So I'm sorry if it doesn't make sense to anybody who's not Australian.
Hey, look, if you want to have two, you can always double up, boys!
It's really good, okay? And I still get two of them, boy! No, it's really funny. And so I'm really sorry if that doesn't translate for anybody who's not Australian. What's your weekly wonder, Jay? Is it Torbjorn?
Torbjorn! Where he is! Torbjorn!
Did you find him? Was he in your microphone? What's your weekly wonder, Jay?
I've been playing PlayerUnknown's Battleground, which is the worst name for a video game ever. Even just calling it Battlegrounds is terrible, because PlayerUnknown is one word, because it's the developer's name.
Yes.
And Battleground is a terrible name for a game, but it's really good.
It's also all in capitals?
It is in Steam. It's not always, necessarily. What the game is that there is an island, and the island is always exactly the same. All the buildings are in the same place. The island's construction is the same. I think they're releasing a new one soon, but right now there's just one island, and it's really big. It's like 20 kilometers... No, it's like 40 kilometers square, I think, approximately. Mm-hmm. Maybe more. I'm not really sure. And the idea... And there's 100 players in a game, and all the players are flown in on a plane at the beginning of the game, and they skydive out of it onto different parts of the map that they want to go to.
Yep.
You get down there, and there are randomly generated equipment, like guns and armor and stuff, and the way you win is to be the last one alive in the game. And the map's really huge, but there's a big blue wall of death that closes in a circle, and the map tells you where the safe zone is, which keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and forcing all the remaining players together.
Right. Until
everyone's killed each other. And it's really, really good. It's also really stressful.
And also, if you are a Patreon supporter pledging $5 or more a month, you can play this with us.
You can. There's squad-based... There's a squad version where like you go in with a team of up to 4, and you can like communicate and help each other out, and it's really, really fun. So please play this with us.
I will set up the Discord not tonight because I want to go to bed. Tomorrow, maybe alongside this episode, and I'll send it out to all Patreon supporters pledging $5 or more.
Delaying it now doesn't mean anything. They're not going to hear it until the morning. Yeah,
well, the people who are listening to this episode straight after it is released for Patreon supporters will be listening to it before there's a thing. Yeah. So, presumably, if you are a $5 or more per month backer, you will have received a message from us with the Discord link. If not, give it like a day or so because I might be busy, but I will want to set it up this weekend and we can organize games and stuff.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and that'd be fun. Because I own PUBG. One of my mates bought it for me for my birthday, but I haven't actually played it yet. Because
it's really fun.
All my friends decide they want to play PUBG at 9 o'clock at night when I want to go to bed because I have to get up at 6:30.
I'd play earlier if I wasn't doing anything, but I had to come here and record.
Yeah. So you can find the link dump linked in the description. And this week's weekly poll is LiTmon from Digimon Adventure or Swanmon from Digimon Frontier. So that you can choose between that. So it's another one of those cross-season polls again. You can find our screenshots of the week and our weekly wonders also linked in the description and in our link dump. And our Redbubble is also linked in the description. And you can not just buy just shirts, you can buy other things like mugs, and they're pretty cool. Jay has a mug.
I love it. Is it still here?
I think so. You still haven't
I keep
taken
meaning
it.
to take it to work.
Why don't you just take it when you leave then?
I keep forgetting.
I'll make sure you have it this time.
Okay, great.
So you can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on Lost in Translation on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit, and we'd really appreciate if you were to review us on iTunes and or Stitcher. We also have a website where you can vote in our weekly poll, which is Electmon or Swanmon. You can donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month, which gets you access to our listener Slack chat group, but there are higher levels with more rewards such as notes, early episodes, and more.
And thank you to our Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who hosts a podcast called The Moncast, which talks about Pokemon and Digimon, Stevie, who is Stevie Patamon on Tumblr and takes commissions currently, Wu Qinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Wu Qinglong, Metal Mamemon, Joe, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the #1 on YouTube, Penguin Mage, Chalkmon, Ishpal Bamba, Hiro Olato, who is Hiro Olato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who is Frost Magic on Archive of Our Own, Stephen Reeves, who is at Wildwing64 on Twitter, Kaitawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Red and Garen from Breakfast with from the Versus podcast, which you can find on SoundCloud. That name changed. Or they're doing a new show?
New one, I think.
Awesome. You should listen to that. I don't know what that one's about yet. I should listen to that. Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr. Corey, Kyle, The Lady Bugman, whose anime blog you can find at bagubaragu.wordpress.com. Small Wolfie, who's on Tapastic as Small Wolfie and has a comic called Eden of Melancholy. Tom, Glitchgoat, Azra McCool, Nicholas, and Matthew.
You can also make a one-off donation on PayPal, which you found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Edgemon. Make sure to listen to us for the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
僕たちが新しい風を起こそう無邪気なままで